Hey truckers, today we're seeing part 8 of From Enemies to Lovers, a hidden marriage story. Let's dive into the video. After he took off his coat, Lu Tingxiao rolled his sleeves up. It might take a while. You can go and rest in the next room. You don't look very well. Didn't get enough sleep? Ningxi touched her eye bags consciously. I was too excited last night. I spent all night reading the scripts. Go and take a short nap. I'll wake you up when I'm done. The boss works while I take a nap? That wouldn't look too good, would it? Ningxi felt that doing so would be inappropriate. Lu Tingxiao glanced at her. You couldn't help me even if you weren't sleeping, so I'd feel better if you go and sleep for a while. Okay. I'll go now. She quickly stepped away from the devil's desk. The devil had lost control of his flirting aura. Ningxi went into the lounge area swiftly. Even though the lounge had a simple and cold design, it felt a little warmer, probably because the devil had slept here before. Wait! The place where the devil slept? She was to sleep right here? As she was contemplating, her phone rang. A new message came through. Cabbage Lu, the bed sheets are newly changed. Get the L test VLS at .o/v/e/l/buy.co. Did the devil have God's eyes? Scary. Outside the resting room, Lu Tingxiao was smiling while imagining Ningxi's face when she saw his message. Later, he focused on reading the script, and since Ningxi did not sleep at all last night, she was fast asleep after a while. It was nice and peaceful inside the office, but a storm was brewing outside. As people saw Lu Tingxiao come running back, everyone panicked. Crap, things must be really serious this time. What's our boss like? He's usually calm and collected, but he didn't care about his image this time and just blazed through the building. According to the receptionist, he was really scary back in the lobby. Secretary Fong cried in fear. Suddenly everyone turned to Ching Fong. Assistant Ching, if you know anything, don't hide from us. I'm about to get a heart attack. Right. Tell us the truth. Is the company in an emergency? Are we going to lose our jobs? Please tell us, at least we can mentally prepare ourselves. There was a woman just now holding some documents into CEO Lu's office. Is she here to report the bad news? Ching Fong was surrounded by people and the situation was chaotic. Please everyone, stop asking, I really don't know anything. Just wait patiently. Actually, he was quite sure that the company had no issues. But he was still worried even if it was not about the company. Especially since it involved Ms. Ning, it was, in fact, more worrying. As time passed, the sun went down and the workday came to an end. No one dared to leave and most workers just waited by their desks. In the CEO's office. Lu Tingxiao looked over at the direction of the lounge. It seemed like he had stared at it for quite some time. After a while, he looked at the time and then put the script he had long finished reading down. He stood up and went towards the resting room, then knocked on the door. It was quiet inside, not a sound was heard. Lu Tingxiao opened the door gently and went inside. On the huge, soft bed, the girl was sleeping soundly with her flushed cheeks and jet black hair strewn across the white pillow under her head. Lu Tingxiao's heart automatically became calm as he sat lightly on the bedside with an urge to not do anything and just continue watching her like this. Not do anything? At this moment, with this view, it seemed quite impossible. Visit novelbin.com. C.M for updates. Ever since she had left the Platinum Palace, it had been very, very long, too long since he could watch her from such a close distance. It had been very long since he had gotten close to her. Even though he knew he shouldn't, all rationality and self-restraint went out of the window as temptation was king of the moment. Lu Tingxiao picked up a lock of the girl's hair and kissed it lightly. He then slowly lowered his lips to cover her soft, cherry-colored lips. He initially only wanted to give her a slight peck, but obviously, this was a wild wish of his. After the touch, those soft and sweet lips made him sigh, and he could not help but slowly caress her face. Then he used his finger to lightly hold her jaw and greedily invaded deeper to receive even more sweetness. Mm. The girl had trouble breathing and whimpered uncomfortably. Lu Tingxiao's back stiffened and he knew he should move away, yet his body did not listen to him. Instead, it became even more excited, feeling her resistance as he held her lips and kissed her even deeper. Lu. When he heard her mumble his name, Lu Tingxiao became even more aroused as he held her waist, wanting to mold her body into his. Feeling the soreness on her lips, Ningxi frowned and unhappily waved at him, "Cabbage Lu." Lu Tingxiao was speechless. When he heard those words, Lu Tingxiao was stunned. When he returned to his senses, his head was buried in the warmth of her neck. He then started to laugh softly, even the enchanting atmosphere was disrupted by her. Cabbage Lu? This nickname. Fine, actually it didn't sound too bad. Very unique. Only exclusive to her. When he saw that the night had dawned upon them, Lu Tingxiao finally called out the girl's name with a heavy heart, "Ningxi, wake up." Ningxi opened her eyes in a daze. The moment she had clarity, she saw a perfect face and eyes as gentle as the stars in front of her. Was she dreaming? No, wait. She was resting in the devil's restroom in his office. Ningxi quickly got up. "Big boss. Have I slept for very long? What time is it now?" "Not too long, only 2 hours, just nice." "Pfft. Am I a pig? How did I sleep for 2 whole hours?" Ningxi quickly rolled off the bed and then folded the blanket. "Don't bother, someone will tidy that up later." "Oh. Let's go. It's really late, it's time to eat." When Ningxi had gathered herself, she first got down to business. "Right, boss, have you finished reading the script? How is it? Can I act in it?" Actually, she was very worried that the topic in the script might not be accepted by Lu Tingxiao, who was such a serious and conservative man. "I've read half of it," Lu Tingxiao answered. "Half of it?" The speed of this devil's reading was not too fast, wasn't it? This was not science. It was probably because he was going through it carefully, so he was more detailed about it, she supposed. Hey, this is sad. Did she have to wait for another day? How anxious. Ningxi was an impatient girl and she could not wait for another minute, what more another day, so she bitterly asked, "What else can I do then?" "I'll wait for you to finish reading it and look for you again tomorrow." Lu Tingxiao took his coat from the rack and said as he put it on, "I'm afraid that won't do. I have to leave the country for work, the first thing tomorrow morning." "What?" Ningxi exclaimed. "This is bad news. Why does the devil want to run away?" Lu Tingxiao thought about it, then said, "So, I have 2 propositions now." "What are they?" Ningxi quickly asked. Lu Tingxiao continued, "First proposition, wait for me to return after a week of work outstation." 1 week. Even though it was not too long, a week was not that short either. "What's the second proposition?" Lu Tingxiao looked at her, then said, "Second proposition, follow me home." "What?" Ningxi was stunned. What do you mean?" "What I mean is, tonight you can have dinner at my place. After dinner, I'll start reading the remaining half. When I'm done, I'll discuss my opinions with you. We should be able to get it done by tonight," Lu Tingxiao explained. Ningxi blinked, then said without hesitation, "I choose the second one." Was there even a choice? Of course, she'd choose the second one. But, upon revealing her choice, Why did she feel like she just got tricked again? Lu Tingxiao's eyes twinkled and he said, let's go. Ningxi politely walked in front of him and helped Lu Tingxiao push the office door open. In the next moment, she was dumbfounded when she opened the door. At that time of the day, everyone should have been done with work. But all she saw was a place filled with employees. None of them had left work and they were all working on their desk looking seriously. Except from time to time, they looked over. Ningxi could not help but sigh, "Big boss, your employees are all so hardworking." Lu Tingxiao looked at his employees and then looked at Qing Feng, who had waited for God knew how long outside his office. Qing Feng carried everyone's hopes, so no matter how afraid he was, he could only warily walk up to him. Of course, he could not admit that everyone did not dare leave because they were too frightened, so he just laughed. To thank the company's mentorship, everyone took the initiative to work overtime today. Lu Tingxiao looked coldly. "I have always been an advocate for work efficiency and not working overtime." Qing Feng thought to himself, "It's over." Then, Lu Tingxiao added, "But your attitude is to be complimented. Everyone shall get a 3% salary increment for this month as a reward." Discover dated novels on NOV/E/Lbin.co. Lu Tingxiao naturally knew what they thought. However, he was not himself today and it probably frightened them. Let's just call it mental compensation fees. In fact, the wife had just complimented them for being hardworking too. Obviously, that was the main point. When they heard Lu Tingxiao's words, everyone could not believe their ears. Had they imagined that? They had been worried for the entire afternoon, thinking that the company was going to close down. At last, the boss was giving out rewards instead. This had come too suddenly. However, before they could get over their shock about the increment, what was even more shocking came after. "Let's go," Lu Tingxiao turned to say to Ningxi, then as he walked past his employers, he spoke gently to the girl beside him, asking, "What do you want to eat tonight? I see your circle of friends has been talking about going on a diet. Shall I tell the kitchen to prepare some less oily food?" That'd be good. Actually, I'm fine with anything. You don't have to care too much about me. I can also eat less. You can go on a diet, but you have to take care of yourself too. What did you think of Qin Mufeng's recommended nutritionist the last time? If he's good, I can get her to prepare a suitable program for you. Aw. Would that be too much trouble? It won't, I'll help you make the call tonight. Behind them, the entire company was speechless. Jesus! What had they just seen? What did they just hear? They were caught off guard by this sweet couple. This sudden conjugal love. In that instant, everyone turned to look at Qing Feng at the same time. It seemed as if it was going to turn into a frenzy. "We are about to get a lady boss. Pfft. Assistant Qing, you're not loyal now. How could you keep such a huge secret from us? And not even leak a little? You made all of us sheet our pants. Just now, the boss suddenly said he was giving us an increment only because the lady boss complimented us as hardworking, wasn't it? The boss has never liked us working overtime. It must be." Qing Feng rolled his eyes, even he was sheeting his pants. Follow the latest novels n/velbin.com. It was a good thing the both of them were okay, and since the boss was giving out an increment and spoke so gently, the crisis must have been resolved, and the skies were clear again. From a certain perspective, it seemed that this Miss Ningxi would be the person to determine their survival or death. When everyone had calmed down, one of the female employees unhappily mumbled, "You lot shouldn't be all emotional for nothing now." Who knows if it was the lady boss or not? Many of the company's female employees secretly admired Lu Tingxiao and felt like the big boss belonged to everyone. Now that he suddenly belonged to someone else, they naturally didn't feel happy and echoed, "Who knows? He could just be fooling around." One of the male employees looked at them like they were stupid and rebutted, "From the perspective of a man, the boss is definitely serious this time. If the boss was really the kind of person who fools around, wouldn't there have been a woman beside him all these years? Didn't you see how the boss was not himself earlier? Have you seen the boss this gentle before? Have you seen the boss speak in complete sentences to anyone before? Not only that. From the moment I entered the company, I've never heard the boss speak this much. I almost thought that our boss had speaking difficulties." Alas, he did not have any difficulties at all when trying to coax girls. "This is nothing, we all thought that the boss liked men." All the unwilling female employees looked aggravated but had no room to argue. Since they could not counter the arguments, they made other remarks. "Who's the woman? She even wore a mask. Is she ugly? Even with the mask, you could see that she's a beauty. All you women who want a piece of the boss should stop dreaming. Bastard, who wants to have a piece of the boss? We're not used to watching witches hook up with our boss. It can't really be that Suyimo, right? Actually, Suyimo has quite a good reputation. She's like a goddess. She's quite a good fit with our boss. Are you blind? That Suyimo's so fake. How could she be a suitable match for our boss? Stop arguing. All you women just admit that no matter which woman it is, you won't be satisfied." At Platinum Palace. Once they got down from the car, Ningxi looked at the bungalow in front of her absent-mindedly. To be honest, when she first left, she never thought that she would return, ever. Lu Tingxiao saw her staring blankly and asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing," Ningxi shook her head, then walked into the residence. As she was walking, her phone rang. It was Jiang Mai. "Hello, what's up?" "Nothing's up, I just wanted to remind you not to be late tonight. If you make me wait again, I'll really flip." Jiang Mai threatened her. Ningxi was confused. Tonight, what should I not be late for tonight? Ning Xiaoxi. What's wrong with you? Oh, I remember now, we're doing a live stream for the gameplay tonight, right? I know. I was just kidding, I definitely didn't forget. I definitely won't be late. I've got to go now. Ningxi quickly hung up the phone, then looked a little guilty. In reality, under the big boss charm, she had forgotten about this. Ningxi looked towards Lu Tingxiao bitterly. "Big boss, you know I've become the spokesperson for a game. In conjunction with the promotion of the game, I have to do a live stream of the gameplay tonight. I have no choice. You can use my computer." Ningxi was taken aback. "Use your computer?" Lu Tingxiao lightly ruffled her hair. "Don't worry, the configuration on my computer is high enough, and the speed of the internet in my house is very fast too, so there shouldn't be a problem." Oh. As she watched the devil's reassuring expression and tone, Ningxi blinked her starry eyes and nodded. Check out LTSTVL on novl/bin.cm. The devil would definitely have a computer with the best specifications. As for the internet speed, she had experienced how fast it was herself. When she used to live here, she loved the internet speed the most. It was so quick that browsing web pages and playing games were an awesome experience. I'll bring you upstairs, so you can try using it first. Okay. The both of them talked as they walked into the house. Not too far away, Butler Yuan was shocked to see the both of them unexpectedly coming home together. He bowed and greeted respectfully, "Welcome home, Big Master." MMM. Hello Miss Xiaoxi, did you come today, as our guest? The old butler looked at Ningxi to clarify, clearly emotional. Hello, Grandpa Butler. I'm over to do some things. Ningxi answered. Is that so? The old butler was obviously a little disappointed, but then he thought, if they could calmly coexist with one another, it was progressing well. He could see that the master was in a good mood. The last time they had fought so seriously that it had really frightened him quite a bit. This was when Wanwan emotionally ran over with small steps. Miss Xiaoxi. You've returned. Ningxi lamented silently over the greeting of her return. Hey, the devil's servants are all not to be underestimated. Ningxi laughed slightly. Wanwan, did you miss me? Of course. Wanwan's face reddened as she mumbled, then she noticed Lu Tingxiao was present too, so she quickly bowed to greet, Welcome home, Big Master. The girl's face could not hide her expression. With the way she acted, it was obvious that Ningxi was more popular than he was. It was a good thing Lu Tingxiao was used to this and he was happy about it too, as long as they did not take up too much of the wife's attention. When Lu Tingxiao and Ningxi entered the residence, Wanwan turned to Butler Yuan excitedly, Uncle Yuan, why did Miss Xiaoxi suddenly come over? Is she and the big master? Butler Yuan shook his head, don't make wild guesses, Miss Xiaoxi only looked for the big master for business. However, I could see that the chemistry between the two of them was pretty good. There was one more thing he didn't say, and he was not sure if it was his illusion, but he still felt that there was still something in the way Miss Xiaoxi looked at the big master. After she had greeted Wanwan and the rest, Ningxi followed Lu Tingxiao straight to the upstairs study room first. Lu Tingxiao turned the switch on, then helped Ningxi pull her chair out and indicated that she sit down. Then, he typed in the computer password in front of her. Ningxi did not have enough time to look away, so she saw Lu Tingxiao's password. Out of curiosity, she subconsciously mumbled, Lucky, 712? She knew lucky, but what did 712 mean? It seemed neither like Lu Tingxiao's birthday, nor was it Little Treasure's birthday, and of course, it was not her birthday either. Lu Tingxiao put one hand on the back of her chair while the other hand controlled the mouse. When he heard her mumble, he nonchalantly said, the digits in the password symbolize my lucky day, the day we first met. After a moment of being dumbfounded, Ningxi was so shocked that she started coughing profusely. Now that she thought about it, it really was the day they first met. She had not thought about that at all earlier. It was as if Lu Tingxiao had just uttered a very common sentence, since his expression remained as stoic as usual as he opened up a browser, download the game. Oh, right away. Ningxi quickly took over the mouse. However, Lu Tingxiao's hand had not moved away yet, so she accidentally held his hand instead, then quickly let go again, sorry. She had just straightened up to apologize when her head sank into Lu Tingxiao's chest. Ningxi was speechless. Lu Tingxiao touched her head, then as if noticing her distress, he said gently, I won't bother you anymore. I'll go check out the kitchen downstairs. Just call me if you have any problems. Ningxi nodded profusely, okay. Get the L-test VLS at .o/v/e/l/by.co. When she saw that Devil had left and closed the door behind him, Ningxi could finally breathe a sigh of relief as she covered her face and laid on the desk. Lu Tingxiao. If you do that again, I will not be able to help myself and I might stumble, okay? It was a while before Ningxi could gather herself again. She went to the website of the game and started to download the game client. The internet speed was fast as always, so it only took 10 minutes for the game to finish downloading. She entered her account password and logged into the game. She skimmed through her list of friends and saw that Jiang Mai was online already. Almost immediately after she came online, Jiang Mai called to invite her into a game. Ningxi answered to connect. "You're on so early?" Jiang Mai scoffed from the other. "You think I'm like you?" When he finished, she asked suspiciously, "Why are you so defensive today? Do you have to nag me when I'm defensive too? Quickly team up. Let's warm up with 2 games." "Okay. Let's get it on." Jiang Mai immediately became energetic when he heard the game was about to start, forgetting everything else. Tragedy struck just as they started playing. Jiang Mai's shouts could be heard loudly from the other end. "Ningxi, go on! Why are you zoning out? Pft! Pft! Don't go, there's ambush, geez! You're dead! Ning Xiaoxi! Did you forget to eat your medicine today? Bastard! It's you who forgot to eat your medicine. Your reaction is so slow, couldn't you warn me earlier? You're a swordsman, how could you scold me when you couldn't protect the nurse well?" Even though Ningxi was guilty, but she definitely would not admit it. Jiang Mai was so angry. "Pfft, you're really good at twisting facts. Ning Xiaoxi, are you even aware of what you're doing? Are you not in shape today?" When she heard Jiang Mai point out her condition, Ningxi stuttered, "I." With the numerous devil's tricks coming one after another today, her current level of playing focus was already considered normal. Ningxi gritted her teeth. "Speak less nonsense. Let's go again." The second game began and still, they died horrendously. The loss was so terrible that even Ningxi was angry now, and she started to fight with Jiang Mai. "Jiang Mai, were you bitten by a dog? Why did you rush to the front? Did you want to die? Even if I was the reincarnation of Hua Tuo, I wouldn't be able to save you. Switch it back, I don't want to play the nurse anymore, I want to switch to being swordsman." Damn it, this was the gaming company's request and not mine. Besides, the issue is not about which character we use. Even though you are more skilled with the attacker type of characters, there is no way you would play the nurse so badly. Tell me honestly, what's going on? The more Jiang Mai thought about it, the more he felt that something was not right. "Blondie Jiang, stop giving me excuses. Clearly, it was you who was messing things up and yet you blame me." There was no way Ningxi would admit that she was out of form because she had been charmed. She was determined on putting the blame onto Jiang Mai. Jiang Mai on the other end so angry he almost puked blood. Ningxi was scolding Jiang Mai when she looked up and saw that Lu Tingxiao was leaning against the door frame and looking at her. She was not sure how long he had stood there. Ningxi suddenly felt very awkward and quickly closed her mic. "Cough, cough, when did you come?" He couldn't have possibly heard her when she was scolding someone, could he? God, no. Actually, I'm not usually this irritable when I play games, and I won't simply scold people. It's mostly because Jiang Mai is playing way too horribly today. Ningxi continued to push the blame on Jiang Mai. Lu Tingxiao's lips curved into a grin. "Very cute." Lu Tingxiao's sudden words made Ningxi slightly confused. "Ah? What's cute?" "The way you look when you curse." Ningxi was speechless. "Devil, do you have any humanity in you? I have already been wounded so bloodily, and yet you will not let me go. Dinner is ready, want to eat downstairs first?" Lu Tingxiao asked. Dinner." She really wanted to eat cabbage. See check out LTSTVL on novl/bin. cm. Downstairs. Ningxi saw that on the table were 3 vegetable dishes and 1 meat, with a soup on the side. It was all home-cooked dishes that looked refreshing and appetizing. In fact, there actually was a big plate of cabbage. Did the devil do this intentionally? Are these enough? Lu Tingxiao asked worriedly. Enough, enough, definitely enough. To avoid danger as soon as she spoke, Ningxi quickly picked at some dishes and started to scarf the food down. Eat slowly. Lu Tingxiao watched her with a hardly noticeable nervousness in his eyes. Ningxi did not notice how nervous he was as she continued to eat. However, as she was eating, she noticed something was odd. Lu Tingxiao. What is it? Lu Tingxiao quickly put down his chopsticks to ask. Ningxi took a bite of the eggplant and chose her words carefully. Is your chef not in too good a mood today? Lu Tingxiao deliberated, then answered confidently, no, his mood is very good today. Ningxi blinked, then why is his cooking today a little off? Lu Tingxiao's back immediately stiffened when he heard this, but his face remained calm. Why do you say so? Ningxi pointed at the plate of braised eggplant and said, this eggplant clearly has too much salt in it. Then she picked up a piece of winter melon meat slice and said, this dish has been overcooked. Even the sliced meat is burnt, and the tomato omelette is almost all tomatoes with barely any eggs. Most importantly, salt seemed to have been omitted from the soup. When she finished, she looked up to Lu Tingxiao and was going to continue criticizing when she noticed that his expression was odd. Ningxi paused slightly, then a thought flashed across her mind and she had a look of disbelief on her face. After a while, she swallowed her saliva and asked weakly, Lu Tingxiao, did you cook these dishes? Lu Tingxiao's expression was heavy as if he did not want to really admit it, but he did not want to lie to her either. Half a second later, he still nodded rigidly, Pft. Ningxi said in shock, it really was you. She was in huge trouble. Why didn't he mention it earlier? She had just criticized the devil's cooking like it was nothing. Ningxi buried her face in her hands and quickly tried to save the situation by saying, I thought it was your chef's cooking. By a professional chef's standard, naturally, I would expect much more. Who knew it was the big boss personally cooking? Hope you don't mind me asking, is this your first time cooking? No, I have practiced a few times before. Lu Tingxiao explained really unhappily. As a perfectionist, he was obviously hurt by this first-time failure. Oh, you've practiced a few times, well then you're still considered a newbie. I'm not intentionally complimenting you, but the fact that you can achieve this level for a newbie is really great already. Look at this eggplant, it's especially fragrant, and even though there is a little too much salt, it's definitely flawless. And this winter melon with sliced meat, the meat is only slightly overcooked. I actually like it like that, and this tomato omelette. I realized there were eggshells in them so I threw away most of the eggs, Lu Tingxiao explained. Ningxi choked slightly, then continued to compliment with difficulty, oh, no wonder, this clearly means that you're really strict with your own cooking standards. Actually, a little bit of eggshells wouldn't really entire ruin everything. When I just started cooking, there would always be shells where there are eggs in my dishes. And this soup, well, soup is better when it's lighter, but most importantly, this cabbage dish. It's done so well. Even more delicious than my own cooking. Ningxi complimented until her mouth was dry, and Lu Tingxiao's expression finally did soften. I've practiced this dish for a long time. If Ningxi had gone to the kitchen now, she would see that the rubbish bin filled with the failed cabbage dishes. The plate of success in front of her right now was built on numerous corpses of cabbages. It really is not bad, you'll improve if you practice more. Ningxi worked harder to coax Lu Tingxiao when she saw that he turned happier. Lu Tingxiao looked at her more seriously, I will, until you're completely satisfied. I didn't mean that. What did he mean by doing it until she was completely satisfied? Besides, what she really wanted to say was, as long as there was someone who knew how to cook, that would be enough, so he didn't need to learn at all. However, the fact that someone like Lu Tingxiao had actually learned how to make soup for her was simply off the charts. Ningxi had said the wrong things earlier, but in an instance, she was in the clear. New N0vel chapters are published on N0V/E/LBIN. Co/M. Nevertheless, she still did not have the heart to see the devil feeling disappointed. She initially wanted to go on a diet, but at last, she finished all the food and even ate 2 big bowls of rice. When he saw that all the food had been finished, Lu Tingxiao, who was gloomy at the start of the dinner, finally revealed a smile. Ningxi touched her full tummy and sighed softly. For the charmer's smile, it would be worth it even if she died trying to holding herself up. What times does your live stream start? Lu Tingxiao asked. Ningxi looked at the time and replied, there's still an hour to go. I was preparing to train for a few rounds first before the game. I am using a different computer after all, and I'm worried that I won't be used to it. I'll go read the script then. Okay, thank you for your hard work, big boss. With that, both parties went their separate ways. Ningxi returned to the computer. Not sure whether if it was because she had been charmed to the point that she managed to calm down, but for the next few games, Ningxi finally played to her usual standards. You brat, you finally returned to normal. Otherwise, when we officially start later, we'd definitely be insulted by our fans. I'll say, Ningxi, is it because you didn't eat earlier and was hungry? Let's just say I was hungry. Very quickly, an hour passed and it was 8 p.m. sharp when the live stream officially started. Ningxi was just being greeted the gamers and fans when her phone sounded with Jiang Mai's message. They were connected to the mic, so what was it that he needed to tell her through text messages? Ningxi opened it up to see. Filthy Demon King, my god. Ningxi, what are you doing at my uncle's? Ningxi was taken aback and she told the fans that she was going to reply a message before replying him very quickly. Sweet Xiaoxi, how do you know? Filthy Demon King, nonsense. You think I wouldn't be able to recognize my uncle's study room? Sweet Xiaoxi, the thing is, the background behind me is just a wall, okay? Filthy Demon King, just say if it is or not. Sweet Xiaoxi, it is. But it's a long story, I'll tell you later. Focus, we're starting soon. Ningxi put her phone aside and concentrated on preparing for the live stream. After texting Jiang Mai for a while, there had already been many comments from the fans on the live stream. Ningxi is so pretty. Is that nude makeup today? She, how are your standards? Are you good at battling? I'm playing this game too. I'm so happy. I thought that the goddess room would be pink, but it's actually metallic colored, so cool. Ningxi skimmed through the comments, then played the game while replying them at the same time. Yep, I didn't go out today so I was lazy to put on makeup. My standards, huh? Just watch later and you guys will know. As for the room, this is not my room. I had some errands to run today, and I could not make it back home in time, so I'm borrowing a crew member's computer. Ningxi did not say a friend's place because this room was clearly a place where a male lived. If she had said friend, there would definitely be further questions. Indeed, when they heard her mention crew member, no one held on to the question. After waiting for a while, they finally entered the game. Ningxi's playing condition was close to fully restored now, and she was ready to show off her capabilities when Jiang Mai pulled a trick again. This time, it was his turn to act oddly. In fact, he fared even worse than the previous horrible games when she had acted out. Ningxi almost scolded him, but she remembered in time that this was a live stream, so she could only suppress it and say with a soft voice, Senior Jiang, go slower, I can't keep up. I can't heal you. Jiang Mai. Are you rushing for incarnation? Stay right there. Senior Jiang, you must protect me. If the nurse is dead, everyone will be in danger. Stupid Blondie. Are you a pig? Do you understand the human language? Ah, Senior Jiang, be careful, 3 people are coming from the front. We won't be able to defeat them, let's run. Stupid Blondie. Quickly run. If you want to die yourself, don't drag me down with you. After one game, Ningxi was already mentally exhausted. They lost in this round as expected, and the live stream was filled with insults. Before this, they had complimented them previously when they saw the results of Jiang Mai and her past battles. Now that there was such a huge drop in performance, it was no wonder the gamers were angry. Of course, it was a good thing Jiang Mai's fans were loyal enough that they very quickly defended the angry scoldings. All you dogs, go away! We're here to see the eye candy, not to see a professional competition. Who cares if he plays well or not? Even if our Jiang Mai used his face to roll over the keyboards, we'd watch too. All the best, Bro Mai, we'll send you a big yacht. Even though Jiang Mai's fans did not mind, in order to prevent herself from exploding with anger, Ningxi still used the intermission to call Jiang Mai secretly. Visit novelbin.c.m for updates. Big bro, are you messing with me? I finally calmed down enough to play well to go online and now you're going offline on me? Jiang Mai on the other end of the phone was silent for a while, when finally he asked, should I change the way I address you and start calling you auntie? What auntie? Jiang Mai, are you having auntie paranoia right now? I'm here on official business, alright? I'm waiting for your uncle to help me run through a script. Lu Jingli isn't here, and your uncle is leaving the country for work tomorrow too, so he only has time tonight. Really? Why would I lie to you? No, wait, you played so horribly earlier because you were thinking about this nonsense? I'm just deep in thought about the tragedy of being one level of seniority in the family below you. Fine, fine. Hanging up now. Just watch, I'll bring you for a ride in the next round. Jiang Mai said before hanging up. Ningxi was speechless. It was a good thing that Jiang Mai really did return to normal after that, and with their excellent chemistry, they managed to win 3 rounds in a row with all sorts of traps planned out for the opponent. They played a very beautiful comeback game. The audience viewing the game increased, and they incidentally broke the record for highest number of live streamers. What a beauty! I thought the commercial was just lying. Who knew that a girl could play a game this well? Don't judge a book by its cover. This beauty is obviously an expert, okay? Look at her mouse and keyboard, that set is enough to make up for several months of my salary. When she read the comments, Ningxi took a step back and subconsciously looked at the mouse and keyboard she was using. The equipment's jet black appearance looked ordinary. Who knew it was so expensive? It was a good thing that she had not accidentally spoiled it. While she was still interacting with the audience, there were 3 knocks on the study room door before it was pushed open. Lu Tingxiao stood at the door with the script in his hands and raised his eyebrows to ask if it was over. Ningxi looked down and saw that she had achieved the gaming company's requested time, so she said goodbye to everyone and went offline. How was it? Smooth? Lu Tingxiao asked. There was a slight issue at the start, but after that, it all went pretty smoothly. Just now one of the audience said that your mouse and keyboard set was really expensive. It's no wonder it was so nice to use. That's good then. Are you done reading the script? Ningxi saw that he held the script and asked him anxiously. Lu Tingxiao walked into the living room and sat on the sofa. There was seriousness written all over his face. When she saw Lu Tingxiao's expression, Ningxi suddenly became nervous. Is there a problem with the script? There's no problem with the topic. Ningxi just breathed a sigh of relief when Lu Tingxiao continued, but I wouldn't suggest for you to shoot this. Ah. Why? Ningxi was stunned. Lu Tingxiao frowned and said, there are too many dangerous scenes. Dangerous scenes? Which part? Ningxi tried to recall and remembered that the female lead had a passion for extreme sports. Are you talking about the scenes with the car racing, bungee jumping, fencing, water jet and all those sports? Actually, I'm quite used to all of that. Besides, when we're shooting those scenes, I'm sure I wouldn't really be doing the sports most of the time, so there wouldn't be too much danger. Ningxi tried hard to persuade him. Unfortunately for her, it seemed that Lu Tingxiao had already set his mind to it. Ningxi, choose another script. If you didn't fancy any of the ones that Ling Zhizhi let you pick, I can prepare more for you. Ningxi's heart instantly dipped and her expression changed. I don't want anything else. I like this one. It's that or nothing. Lu Tingxiao's brows closed in, be good. Ningxi felt wronged. Lu Tingxiao, why can't you just trust me? Ningxi, it's not that I don't trust you. You're someone who I brought in, I have to be responsible for your life, and that is my bottom line. Lu Tingxiao left no room for any further debate. Pfft. How was it so serious that it had reached the bottom line? Could it be that this script was fated not to be her destiny? Ningxi could not believe that after busying about for the whole day, the day would end like this. Actually, those scenes were really no problem for her, but it seemed like Lu Tingxiao insisted for her not to be involved in it. What could she do? When she thought about the script that sparked her passion so intensely, Ningxi was unwilling to give up, no matter how hard she thought about it, and she decided to fight for it again. Geez, she was always seduced by the devil, now it was her turn. Ningxi took a deep breath, and within those few seconds, her expression and the atmosphere around her changed. She looked down and hung her head as she stood in front of Lu Tingxiao, not moving or saying a word at all. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She counted down to 10 in her heart. Throughout this, Lu Tingxiao watched the girl's gloomy demeanor and did not have the heart to let her be this disappointed, but he still maintained his hardened expression and was determined not to be moved. In the next second, when Ningxi lifted her head again, her eyes were red and wet, with tears welling up, refusing to fall. At the same time, the girl's voice became coarse and she was vulnerable, unlike her usual self. She slowly walked over to the stony Lu Tingxiao an inch closer, before she pulled on his sleeves lightly with 2 fingers. Lu Tingxiao, it's really impossible? A sliver of warmth almost cracked through Lu Tingxiao's cold expression instantly, but his mouth was still tight and determined. No can do, Ningxi, I can promise you anything, just not this. Immediately, Ningxi's tears started to fall all at once and she pleaded pitifully, Lu Tingxiao, please, I really like this script. I guarantee that I will definitely look out for my own safety, okay? Lu Tingxiao replied, okay. Ningxi was shocked. Okay? After all, it was the devil she was dealing with and she had already prepared herself for a series of sad dramatics. She had only just used 1% of what she prepared and had not even used her seduction moves yet. It was okay now. She only had to use some novice skills to defeat the boss. There must have been a bug in the system. Ningxi was stunned for a while before she finally reacted and was so excited she almost jumped for joy. Big boss. You agree? You really do? Lu Tingxiao's expression stiffened as if he had just realized what he had agreed to. Then, he frowned and said helplessly, can I take it back? Ningxi was anxious, of course not. A promise cannot be taken back once it's made. If you take it back, I'll cry until I pass out here. Lu Tingxiao sighed, okay, I won't take it back. Actually, the moment her tears fell, he already knew that. Why would he still struggle to allow her? In fact, he knew that she was probably faking it, but he still had no power to resist her at all. He could not help but clearly see his own rationality go to zilch. Ningxi's only regret that moment was that she could not run up to give Lu Tingxiao a super big kiss as she excitedly cheered, "Yay! Long live Big Boss! Big Boss, you're too nice! To have a leader like you was probably my good karma in my last life, no, my previously 10 lives. My respect for you is as high as the mountains and rivers." Lu Tingxiao smiled and helplessly stopped her. "Okay, no need to brown-nose me now. For now, it's just me you've gotten through. If you fail at the audition later, I can't help you open up a back door, understood?" "Fail at the audition? No way. As long as you agree, then all's good. If I can get past the big boss, would I not be able to defeat the other little minions?" Ningxi was full of confidence. When he saw the girl in high spirits, every trickle of worry Lu Tingxiao's had vanished too. Fine, he could just ask the drama crew to watch her closely. She was never too green in the work she did anyway, so why should he hold her down in the name of love? Discover new. The next morning at Platinum Palace residence entrance. A black Mercedes Maybach appeared, with Ching Feng and 4 bodyguards waiting outside the entrance. The tallest bodyguard, who looked honest and naive, could not help but ask Ching Feng, "Assistant Ching, why does the boss want to go to America this time around? In fact, why is he going to such a chaotic place like Philadelphia for observation? Can't he delegate the task to someone else to go? Is that processing plant really so important?" When he thought about the objective for the visit, something flashed in Ching Feng's eyes. Then, he shot the guy a look. "If you don't have a brain, then don't think about nonsense all day. Do you even have the capability to guess what the boss is thinking? Just follow the orders." The big guy scratched his head and felt that what Ching Feng said made sense. "Oh, understood, thank you, Assistant Ching." As the both of them were talking, a skinny bodyguard in front of the car suddenly cursed under his breath, then walked to Ching Feng impatiently. I can't hold it in anymore. I have to look for the boss and get him to take back his orders." Ching Feng frowned as he looked at the youth who spoke up. "What orders?" The youth was called Shi Shao, and he had the best combat skills among the bodyguards, making him the highest status of them. One could say that he was one of the staff Lu Tingxiao trusted the most. If it was an order to him, then it must be something of utmost importance. Shi Shao had always followed all of Lu Tingxiao's orders, but what was it this time that actually made him want to disobey? Shi Shao lit a cigarette and continued, "In the middle of the night yesterday, I suddenly received a phone call from the boss and thought it was something important. Who knew? He was telling me to go over to the drama team for a period of time and be in charge of a woman's safety. Pfft. I have had many near-death experiences and am specially trained for more than 10 years. How could all of that boil down to protecting some random woman?" "Shi Shao! Shut up, do you want to die?" Ching Feng looked at the door's direction nervously. "If you let the boss hear you say this, be prepared to die." Shi Shao was unhappy with the unfairness of the situation and he expressed, "I really don't understand. Apart from having a bit of beauty, I don't see what's so special about that woman that made the boss so charmed." Ching Feng knew that these people were used to messing around with guns and knives, and intelligence wasn't their forte, so he could only be patient and explain. "Shi Shao, listen to my word of advice, don't say these words ever again and just obey the orders." Shi Shao looked insulted and waved impatiently. "I'm okay with other orders, but not this. I don't care. No matter what, I definitely won't protect some actress who only knows how to flirt around." By sheer coincidence, Lu Tingxiao slowly walked out of his residence, clad in black, just as Shi Shao made his declaration. Your F48 stories on /o/v/lbn. cm. Shi Xiao immediately ran up and said, "Boss, I have something I need to consult you about." Qing Feng could not stop him in time, so he could only bury his face in his hands and wish the rookie the best of luck. Lu Tingxiao coldly shot him a look and said, "Speak." In that instance, Lu Tingxiao's icy eyes made Shi Xiao back off a little, but the insult he felt so deeply in his heart still made him blurt out, "The order you made last night, there is no way I can obey it." Everyone broke into a cold sweat on behalf of Shi Xiao. Just when they thought the boss was about to break into a fit of rage, Lu Tingxiao unexpectedly did not say anything. All he did was look at the big guy behind Shi Xiao and said, "Xiongshi, you'll replace Shi Xiao." Xiongji was taken aback, but he just scratched his head and followed the orders, "Yes, boss." Seeing that the issue had been resolved, Qing Feng quickly walked over to open the car door for Lu Tingxiao. Once Lu Tingxiao got into the car, Qing Feng patted the big bodyguard's shoulder and could not help but lament, "Hey, fortune certainly shone on the fool." That Shi Xiao, if one day he found out that the boss had given him a task as important as protecting the lady boss which he had rejected, he would regret to the point of puking blood. At Fahua Temple. The other day, after discussing with Lu Chongshan, Yan Rui set aside some time to go to the temple early one morning. The temple was known for being auspicious and it was filled with people early in the morning. Yan Rui lit up a joss stick then waited in the hall. Very soon, a monk came over with both palms pressed together to say, "Ba," and he greeted her, "Donor Yan, you're here." Yan Rui returned the courtesy then nervously said, "Little master, I was wondering what Master Xian Jing had to say." "The abbot has been waiting inside the hall." "Donor Yan, please follow me," the little monk replied. "Ah, so Master Xian Jing agreed. Great. Thank you, thank you." Yan Rui held a stack of socialites' birth dates and followed the monk happily towards the meditation abode in the backyard. Inside the yard were grass and pebble paths, and at one end were red maple trees. Standing in the lotus pond in front of the place were several herons ruffling their feathers. When she looked at the peaceful and quiet little yard, she calmed down much more. When they reached the entrance of Xian Jing's meditation abode, the little monk stood still and announced solemnly, "Abbot, Donor Yan is here." After a moment, an old monk clad in a gray robe walked out with the help of a staff. His charisma and aura were extraordinary as if he was not from this world. "Donor Yan, this old monk is lacking in being welcoming. Master, you are being too kind. We've really troubled you this time to use your time with Buddha for such a petty thing." As she watched the old monk and felt his strong aura, Yan Rui instantly trusted him, thinking about how lucky she was to find Master Xian Jing. She had met Long Fanning once and thought that he was efficient the other time. Now that she had met Master Xian Jing, she realized that Long Fanning was too impetuous and hasty. "Donor Yan, you speak too highly of me. This old monk is only giving due assistance. You and Donor Lu donate to the auspicious incense every year to repair the Buddha's gold body and aid the poor. That is true charity. Master, you compliment me too much. These are things we should do." After some more small talk, they started to get down to business. Yan Rui took out the stack of birth dates from her bag and put it on the short table. Then, she took out a single sheet of paper with Lu Tingxiao's date of birth and said, "Master, it's all here. I have to trouble you to skim through them." Xian Jing nodded and picked up the birth dates to start going through them. Yan Rui dared not interrupt, so she quietly stood aside and waited. Xian Jing looked at every one of them and made notations behind them. A moment later, he finally finished looking through all the birth dates. When she saw that Xian Jing's expression had not changed much from start until the end, Yan Rui was a little anxious. She questioned, "Master, among these girls, were there any birth dates that were especially good, or especially compatible with our Tingxiao?" Master Xian Jing shook his head confidently and declared, "There are none." That meant that all these girls were all ordinary. Even though none of them particularly clashed in terms of compatibility, was there not even one compatible one? When Yen Rui heard this, she could not help but be a little disappointed. She unwillingly looked at the master's written remarks and realized that not only all of them were ordinary, there was indeed no one who was more outstanding than the rest. Yen Rui kept turning every piece of paper to look at the remarks many times, then finally accepted her son's fate and put the birth dates away. She absent-mindedly nodded. "I've troubled you, master." Donor Yen, not to worry. Then, master, I won't disturb you further. I shall make a move now. Your F48 stories on /o/v/lbn.cm. Yen Rui was prepared to leave when her footsteps came to a halt. She suddenly thought about how there was still one more person's date of birth in her bag. It belonged to that girl named Ningxi. She did not know what she was thinking, but before she left, she had actually grabbed the girl's date of birth too. Now, should she just casually let the master have a look at it? However, if Lu Chongshan had known that she brought the girl's date of birth for evaluation as well, he would definitely fly into a rage again. Yen Rui was in a dilemma. She took out the date of birth for a look and did not know what decision to make. When he saw that she did not look right, Xian Jing asked, "Donor Yen, is there anything else unresolved?" Yen Rui returned to her senses and was flustered as she tried to put the sheet with the birth date back. However, she was still worried that Lu Chongshan would get angry if he knew, and she felt that there was no need to evaluate the girl, so she quickly said, "Nothing, nothing. Master, you can go ahead and attend to your other things." Then, she turned around to walk away. In her rush, a brownish paper flew out of her bag and dropped onto the floor. Yen Rui had not noticed and was still walking away. Behind her, Xian Jing bent down to pick it up. "Donor Yen, please hold on, you dropped something, eh?" As he said that, Xian Jing stared at the date of birth on the paper in clear shock as his words trailed off, "This birth chart." Yen Rui heard the master's voice behind and quickly turned around. She saw that the master held Ningxi's birth date in his hand, and the astoundment on his face was apparent. Yen Rui saw this and her heart skipped a few beats. "Master, how about this birth date?" Different from the confidence he had displayed earlier from looking at the other birth dates, Xian Jing looked at Ningxi's date of birth for a long time before saying, "Donor Yen, could you let me please have your son's birth date for me to have a look again?" "Of course you can." Yen Rui said that as she took out Lu Tingxiao's birth date quickly and handed it over to Xian Jing with both hands. At the same time, her heart was filled with worry. Xian Jing held the two's birth dates and laid them flat on the short table. Then, he started to evaluate them carefully. Yen Rui stood aside to wait nervously and she felt anxious. The master's expression was so serious. Could it be that this woman was a horrible jinx for Ting Xiao and would cause harm to him? After a long time, Xian Jing finally said, "This birth chart has signs of loneliness, a robbed life with a series of unfortunate events. This person will inevitably jinx her son and kill her husband, and she is fated to be alone forever." Yen Rui turned pale at the sound of the reading. Isn't this the devil Lone Star? My God! Jinx her son and kill her husband, Ting Xiao, little treasure. Yen Rui was still deep in shock when Xian Jing suddenly asked, "I wonder if you remember that many years ago, I helped your son examine a similar birth date." "I remember, of course, I do." Yen Rui's face lingered with fear when she heard this. That year, the reading of Ting Xiao's birth chart was filled with terrible danger. La test novls on, n, vel by / co. Xian Jing continued, "Wherever dangerous fate lingers, it needs to be fought with danger. When the 5 elements are in danger, the Lone Star fate is formed. As the saying goes, it is hard to be all round and harmonize all 5 elements. Without danger, a long life and a roof over heads are guaranteed, but when elements of danger come together, the passing of the jinx onto the kin is inevitable and they will be fated to be alone till old age. Everyone knows that. But Master, after having little treasure 5 years ago, didn't you say our Tingxiao's fate has had a breakthrough? Yan Rui asked anxiously. Xian Jing nodded. Indeed, 5 years ago, there were signs of a breakthrough. Then, what does Tingxiao's birthday have to do with the Devil Lone Star fate of this woman? Xian Jing looked at her mysteriously. This girl's birth chart, very coincidentally, is the same as your son's. It also suddenly started to change 5 years ago. Changed? Yan Rui panicked, and could not help herself but urge him, Master, please don't beat around the bush anymore. What fate does this woman actually have? Will it jinx my Tingxiao? Yan Rui obviously prepared for the worst when she asked nervously, Master, do you have any way to resolve it? As long as you can resolve my son's bad fortune, I am willing to do anything. Xian Jing shook his head and consoled, Donor Yan, you don't have to be too worried. Please listen to this old monk explain to you slowly. He was worried that Yan Rui could not understand him, so Xian Jing tried his best to use layman terms to break it down to her. From this diagram, this girl does have the fate of a Devil Lone Star. However, Donor Yan, if someone of this fate has a life blessed with longevity and enlightened kindred spirits, then they might have good fortune. Or they could practice Buddhism, do more charitable deeds to gain good karma, and really put in individual hard work, their fate could change too. Yan Rui dared not interrupt again. As anxious as she was, she could only be patient and listen quietly. Under Yan Rui's nervous watchful sight, Xian Jing finally concluded, if I did not read it wrongly, now, this girl has a fate of fame, prosperity and fortune and family happiness. Good fortune beyond comparison, a prospering husband, and a flourishing family, a future with many children and plenty of luck. When she heard Master Xian Jing announce the fate of the girl, Yan Rui was immediately so shocked that she almost could not believe her ears. Master, what did you just say? She was the Devil Lone Star 1 second before, so how did she have good fortune beyond comparison, a prospering husband, and a flourishing family, a future with many children and plenty of luck in the next? Xian Jing stroked his white beard and exclaimed, the rarest thing which happened is that the time that this girl's fate changed is too coincidental with your son's. I expect that in between, there must have been some sort of connection. Only, with the limited resources I have in this examination, I cannot come to such a conclusion. What I can conclude is that if this girl and your son tie the knot, they would definitely have lots of good fortune and no bad luck. Yan Rui stuttered, You mean, that not only is this girl's birth date not clashing with my son's, but it is, in fact, positively compatible? Indeed, that is so, Master Xian Jing nodded, and then reminded, there is no one path to the way the world works. Nothing is absolute, diagrams can only allow us to peek at a bit of things. For example, your son's fate had a sudden change 5 years ago. Thus, I hope that you will not take things too much to heart, and you cannot believe absolutely everything. Do still watch to see how things pan out. I understand now. Thank you for your guidance, Master. Yan Rui's expression was stiff as she took the 2 birth dates on the table and left. Until she had left the temple, Yan Rui was still in disbelief. She had chosen so many socialites, all of them from first-class backgrounds and with outstanding personalities, but in the end, it was Ningxi's birth date that stood out. Furthermore, from what the master had said earlier, it was all good things. At the Liu family old residence, Liu Chongshan was sitting on the living room sofa reading the newspaper. When he saw Yan Rui return, he looked up to ask, "How did it go?" Yan Rui looked tired, and apart from Ningxi's date of birth, she handed everyone else's over to him. The master has made remarks on each of them, you can see for yourself. Generally, even though none of them are particularly jinxes, none are compatible. Lu Chongshan looked like he had expected this and absent-mindedly looked at them. As long as they are not jinxes, it's fine. Discover NW Chapter SNN0EL by.com. As she watched Lu Chongshan look through the socialites' birth dates, Yen Rui wanted to say something but stopped herself several times. Should she tell him about Ningxi, or not? Despite what the master had said about Ningxi and Tingxiao being a match made in heaven, the master had also said that nothing was absolute. Knowing Lu Chongshan's personality, if he had known that she had secretly examined Ningxi's birth date too, not only would he scold her but he probably would not believe it too. When Yen Rui thought about this, she made a decision in her heart. Never mind, it wouldn't be too late if she observed first before saying anything. In the morning, the first thing Ningxi did after she woke up was to go to Glory World Entertainment to report the good news about the decision on the script to Ling Zhizhi. Very coincidentally, Ling Zhizhi had good news on her end too. Payroll time. LA test NOVLS on n.co. Salaries out so soon? Ningxi said, pleasantly surprised. Because the live stream of you and Jiang Mai's game went so well last night, the gaming company was very satisfied and brought forward the payout date, Ling Zhizhi explained. Ningxi exclaimed, overjoyed, that's wonderful. There and then, she decided not to hit Jiang Mai anymore. It should have been banked in already, check your account later, Ling Zhizhi said. Okay. Ningxi replied when she received a new message. Coincidentally, it was a message from the bank about the transfer of the salary. Sis Zhizhi, I've received it. Ling Zhizhi laughed, excellent, it's a good thing you don't have work today. You should go out and relax. Ling Mannion used to be too cool for her own good. Especially after she became famous, she was so depressed that nothing could pique neither her interest nor passion. When she saw Ningxi's energetic demeanor, Ling Zhizhi, who was tired of being in the entertainment circle for so many years, suddenly started to be moved. Ningxi nodded, thank you, sis Zhizhi. Thank you to the company. After she left, Ningxi returned to the apartment first. The first thing she did was dig out 2 bank account numbers and inserted $100,000 into one and $50,000 into the other. Very quickly, the phone rang. Ningxi happily picked it up. Hello, Director Tao. Have you been well? A senior woman replied from the other end, I'm good, I'm good. We're all good over here. Miss Ningxi, did you bank in money to the orphanage again? Ningxi nodded, yeah, I got my salary. The voice on the other end of the phone was anxious, but it is too much this time. $100,000. I know you love the kids, but you need to save some for yourself too. Don't worry, Director, I still have a lot with me. I didn't donate it all. Just use it, it's going to be winter very soon. Buy some clothes and cotton blankets for the children. Hey, I'll accept it then. I thank you on behalf of the kids. You should take care of yourself too, don't work too hard and be too tired now. I know, thank you, Director. Ningxi's heart felt warm after she hung up. She had started donating to this orphanage since 5 years ago. It was too bad she did not have much savings previously, but now she could finally contribute more. The other $50,000 were banked into her foster parents' account. She still felt guilty that she had not returned home all these years. She did not bank in more because she knew that they definitely would not accept too much. She calculated that she had half of her spokesperson fee left, which was $150,000, just enough for her explore. From her financial management standpoint, she always prioritized giving back instead of her savings. Usually, when the money got into her hands, she would use it up really quickly, only leaving some for food. She incidentally looked at the calendar and noticed that it was going to be grandfather's birthday very soon. Never mind, she should buy the birthday present first and be patient for a little longer. The Ning family was wealthy after all, and although the old man was not very close to his granddaughter like other grandfathers, he still cared very much about her. Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu were embarrassed by her lack of etiquette, and they blamed and detested her. Only her old grandfather would privately correct her mistakes one by one. Even though he was strict, he had her best interests at heart. After she had left home, her grandfather had tried to advise her to go home numerously, but sadly, she could not obey the old man's wishes. At Imperial's busiest shopping center. After looking around, she decided to get some jade ornaments in the end. The old man was a Buddhist and liked jade, so it would only be appropriate to get him a bracelet made of jade beads. As the devil's biggest fan, and out of her unquestionable trust towards the boss, Ningxi did not even look around other shops and headed straight for Jade Treasury. As Ningxi walked in, a slightly chubby man with an old-school vest and small eyes came up to welcome her warmly. "Hi, pretty lady, what are you looking for?" Ningxi wore a casual outfit today, the kind no one would really pay attention to. It was only with a closer look that people might be drawn to her cute face. While the owner did not know who she was, experience told him that she was some celebrity, and it didn't hurt that she looked quite wealthy. Even if she was not that famous, she would probably buy something pricey, so he served her personally. Ningxi looked through the vast collection of jade ornaments displayed, and said, a little confused, "My grandfather is celebrating his 70th birthday and I want to buy him a bracelet with jade beads. Do you have any recommendation?" "Yes, of course." The owner quickly opened up the shelf and carefully took out a few bracelets. "What a good timing that you're here now. We've just received a new batch of the latest items. Have a look at the colors, they're all top-notch quality. They'll surely make you get into anyone's good books if you give it as a gift." Ningxi did not really know much about jade ornaments, but according to the shop owner, they would cost quite a fortune, so she asked hesitantly, "How much do each of them cost?" "The price is not exactly fixed, but they are around $1 to $2 million. Of course, they are better ones, so if you don't like these, I'll show you some others." The owner's eyes shone in glee. Seeing that the owner persisted on recommending her expensive jade ornaments, Ningxi smiled awkwardly at him. Did she look like she was rich? It's okay, do you have something cheaper?" Ningxi interrupted the owner's rattle of recommendations. "Cheaper?" The owner stopped for a bit and assessed Ningxi. He then kept all the bracelets, but still replied her with a smile on his face, "Sure, we have something cheaper. Take a look over here. The colors are a little bit off, but they are pretty good and the prices are reasonable too. Only around $700,000 to $800,000. I'll even throw in a discount so you can get them at $600,000. Ningxi pinched the area between her brows and went straight to the point, "Something even cheaper. Do you have anything within the range of $150,000? $150,000? The owner's smile collapsed after hearing that, and even his tone changed. "Pretty lady, while $150,000 might seem a lot to you, at most, you can only fool those who aren't very well versed with jade ornaments. Such a small sum of money can't get you anything good. Plus, you're buying a gift for an elder, so you should invest more, especially for things like a jade bracelet. It's not something you should cut corners with." Discover W stories on no/e/lbin.com. Ningxi smiled, "You're right, but the gift is more about the effort and the meaning, instead of the price. I'm giving my best, which means I've put all my heart into this gift." The owner sarcastically laughed, but of course, he hid his scoff behind a hand so as not to make it too obvious. He closed the shelf and told her, "Then, you can pick from this area. The items on this row here are all below $150,000. That row over there is cheaper, if..." "Hee hee, If you want something even cheaper, I suggest you go somewhere else. We at Jade Treasury don't deal with low-quality goods. The owner walked away upon finishing his sentence. $150,000 might be a big deal for other people, but what a joke. He was the owner of Jade Treasury, where many rich people frequented, and he could usually close deals up to a few million, so a $150,000 deal was not worth his time and personal service. The shops like these usually had heirs, but thankfully Ningxi was already prepared for such a situation. She did not really care and just focused on selecting the bracelet. Jade Treasury gave people assurance of quality, so even if it was cheap, it would still be a better product compared to buying from other shops. Suddenly, a familiar voice came through. "TSK, what a joke. Just admit that you're too poor to afford them. No need for the flowery words. You think the owner is a fool?" Ningxi looked over and frowned. What a small world it was. The one who just spoke was Liang Biqin in her Chanel outfit, and beside her was Su Yimo in a long dress. As usual, there were a few other girls behind them, all artistes trying to get on her good side. All new Haptors NNV.com. Yo! Goddess Su! What brings you here today? I was wondering why the birds kept on singing on my balcony today. I didn't expect them to be celebrating your arrival. The small-eyed owner quickly went up to them with a string of flattery. It was not just because of Su Yimo's popularity, but more importantly, she had the most potential to become lady boss of the Lu Corporation. How could he afford any mistakes? This was especially when a rumor went around recently about how Lu Tingxiao really favored Su Yimo, and even brought her into his office directly. This must not be far from the truth. Or so the owner thought. Goddess Su, please come inside. Xiao Yu, quickly bring out the best items from the back. Xiao Chui, go and prepare some tea, and use the good Taiguanin tea leaves I brought back the other day, the owner ordered them. All the workers got busy and tried to talk to Su Yimo. Of course, everyone wanted to be in the good books of their future lady boss. No matter how cool Su Yimo was, she smiled at the owner's tactic to butter up to her. You don't have to do so much for me, I'm just looking around. The owner quickly replied, Miss Su, it's my honor to be able to serve you, it's really nothing much. Liang Biqin triumphantly looked at the lonely Ningxi whom no one served, and she grinned at the owner. Boss, you must have lathered a lot of honey on your mouth, how sweet your words are. Ms. Liang, everything I say comes from my heart. As he spoke, he brought over the items the worker had taken out and carefully displayed them in front of Su Yimo. Su Yimo casually picked up a dazzling jade bracelet. New items? I don't remember seeing this the last time I came here. You have sharp eyes, Ms. Su. Indeed, a new batch of goods have just arrived, and all of them are the best quality. Of course, they are still not worthy of your identity. But if you don't mind, simply pick some. The owner rubbed his hands in anticipation of his bright future ahead of him. Liang Biqin ran her fingers across the jade jewelry excitedly. Cousin, these jade ornaments look really great. No wonder you like them so much. Only jade can match your extraordinary aura. She's right, gold and silver are too tacky. The other artistes went along in agreement, and they shifted their focus to the high-grade jade ornaments placed in front of Su Yimo. One of them complained, Boss, you've never shown us these goods before when we were here. Boss, how biased of you. You can't blame him. After all, good jade is only worthy of a beautiful person. Only Yimo can pair well with these jades, so let's not embarrass ourselves here. Listening to all the flattery, Su Yimo smiled with pride. She seemed to like the jade bracelet and played with it. Suddenly, Liang Biqin thought of something and she stared at Ningxi, then drawled to the owner, Boss. You're not handling things very well here, are you? The shop owner was anxious. What is it? Is there something that I'm doing wrong? Please let me know, Ms. Liang. I'll work on it right away. Liang Biqin looked straight at Ningxi. It's not about your service. In fact, you are serving us so well that everyone is around here, and no one's looking out for the shop. Who knows if some poor person will take this chance to steal your jade, then you might suffer a big loss. The owner instinctively looked at Ningxi upon hearing this. Aside from Su Yimo's bunch in the shop, there was only Ningxi who was still selecting her jade-beaded bracelet. At first, he thought that this woman could help him close a big deal, but who knew she was so stingy? The owner nodded seriously. Ms. Liang, you are right. He then ordered his worker, Xiao Yu, go and attend to her. Huh? Me? Xiao Yu pointed at her nose in surprise. Yes, you, what are you waiting for? Go! If something goes missing, it's your head on the chopping board. Yes, boss. Xiao Yu unwillingly went to the counter in front of Ningxi. As she saw Ningxi was focused on examining a bracelet, Xiao Yu tried to hide her impatience politely. Miss, you've been looking for quite some time now. Have you made your decision already? Everyone else was with the lady boss and only she was sent over. How could she not be impatient? She was just hoping that this woman would quickly wrap up her purchase and leave. Ningxi was carefully looking at the jade-beaded bracelet in her hands and did not notice the worker's impatient expression, and she then asked, does this bracelet have any particular meaning behind it? Ningxi thought that when she gave this to her grandfather, she could say something auspicious to go with it. LL news tirais at N0V/LBI/. CM. Hearing Ningxi's question, Liang Biqin let out an exaggerated and sarcastic laugh. Huh? What meaning can cheap jade possibly have? Just simply buy anyone. What a bumpkin, still trying to figure out meaning of this and that. The artistes echoed, this is what happens when a poor person tries to act big. Liang Biqin continued, I was right. This woman actually embarrasses herself outside in public as well. TSK, I really don't want to admit that we're working in the same company. Second Master's taste used to be good. The people who he hired were all great candidates, but it seems like he missed this time. What's funny is that people are comparing her to Yimo. This woman isn't even worthy to hold shoes for Yimo. At the same time, at a shop selling luxurious items opposite Jade Treasury. Master Imo, do you still want this shirt? The shop owner asked carefully. The man who he was asking looked ruggedly handsome, dressed in a casual outfit. He had one hand in the pocket as he looked over to see the commotion in the opposite shop. Aside from the few that I picked out, get me anything else you think fits. All right. Master Imo, I'll get you the invoice now. Shall I send it to your address as usual? The owner asked happily. Send it. Mo Ling Tian replied him half-heartedly and continued looking into Jade Treasury. He then took out his phone to make a call. Yes, answered the other end of the line in his usual cold tone. All test NOVL on novelben/.cm. Hey, Lu Tingxiao, I heard that you went to Philadelphia for work. Why are you going to such an uninteresting place? Why not join the gang and have fun by the ocean? The line went dead. The person had actually hung up on him. Damn! Mo Ling Tian looked at his phone in disbelief. Damn it! How dare he hang up on me? Mo Ling Tian called again, and he started scolding the moment the line got through. Screw you, Lu Tingxiao. Does it really take so much effort to talk to me? You just hung up on me right away. Perhaps you want to get cut off the second time? The voice over the phone questioned seriously. If he continued spouting crap, he would really get cut off again. Mo Ling Tian clenched his teeth and looking at the few women opposite, he angrily said, damn it. I was trying to be nice to inform you that some crazy dogs are biting your woman. Yet, you treat me this way. Where is your conscience? There was a pause for a while, then one word was uttered, who? Mo Ling Tian proudly told him, you think that I wouldn't know if you hid it from me? Isn't it the popular celebrity? What was she called again? Oh right, Ning Shi. Last night, I accidentally clicked into a hot streaming site, and guess what I saw? I freaking saw that celebrity streaming a live game from your study room. I tell you, Lu Tingxiao's cold hard voice interrupted him, please get to the specifics. Yo! It's really her. You actually said 5 words. Mo Ling Tian, the voice threatened with a growl. Mo Ling Tian knew that something was not right. He guessed that he was probably handling some emergency situation on the other end, so he stopped fooling around and said, venue your jade ornament shop Jade Treasury. People your real lover Ning Shi, and your rumored girlfriend Su Yimo together with her bunch. Is it clear enough? Need more specifics? The phone call was cut off again. Mo Ling Tian mumbled, damn it. What an ungrateful person. The shop owner came over, beaming, Master Mo, the shirts have all been packed. Mo Ling Tian nodded but did not leave right away. Instead, he ordered, get me a chair right now. Ah. A chair? Asked the shop owner in confusion. What? Quickly! You've got a great view here. Do you have any objections about me sitting here to enjoy the view? No. I'll go and get you one. Right now. The shop owner wiped some sweat from his brow and quickly went to get a chair. These rich people do spend a lot, but they sure were not easy to serve. Liang Biqin and her group kept spouting out insults persistently, each word harsher than before, trying to embarrass Ning Shi, so as to get her revenge for what had happened at the company the other day. Ning Shi had thought that everyone went over to Su Yimo's side, so she would be able to be on her own in peace, but suddenly everyone was being aggressive towards her. She then put on a surprised face, if it isn't Beauty Liang and Senior Su, and my other colleagues, you guys are here too? Were you guys talking to me just now? Ning Shi's words frustrated Liang Biqin, are you blind? You've just only noticed us after we've been here for so long. So the whole time she was insulting that girl was practically a monologue? Ha! Somewhere opposite the shop, a man laughed while he sipped his tea. TSK, this girl looked like a weak little pristine bunny, but her claws sure were viciously strong. The artistes surrounding her comforted her, let it go, Biqin, don't talk to someone as weird as her. Explore new ovals on envelby.com. Liang Biqin clenched her teeth, you're right. Not just weird, blind as well. Can't even get a peace of mind buying some jade. Su Yimo mumbled, displeased. She casually picked up the jade bracelet she saw earlier, and without even asking for the price, she said, boss, please get me this one. The shop owner realized that his future lady boss was not satisfied, and his anxiety crept up a notch. He carefully said, Goddess Su, you have a good pair of eyes. This jade that you just casually picked is one of the best in our shop. I'll pack it up for you right now. He then quickly wrapped it in an exquisite packaging. Su Yimo let Liang Biqin hold the jade, then gave the shop owner her card. The owner smiled at her and said, Miss Su, you don't have to pay. Su Yimo raised her eyebrows, what do you mean? The owner rubbed his hands together, Miss Su, I felt bad about the lack of service today. Just take this jade bracelet as an apology, please. If you don't, I might not be able to sleep tonight. Gift for my cousin? Liang Biqin was shocked and stuttered. Did he just give away such an expensive jade bracelet? The Lu Corporation sure was generous. Even a jade shop owner under them was so magnanimous. If the man became her brother in one day, then... Suyimo stared at Liang Biqin, before returning to her calm self. What an understanding owner. We shan't make things difficult either, so I'll take the jade bracelet on behalf of my cousin. Suyimo did not say anything else. Thank you, Ms. Liang. Thank you, Ms. Su. Thank you, the owner said profusely, then closed in and spoke in a deep tone. I hope someday, Ms. Su could help me to say some good words in front of CEO Lu. Even though the owner was upfront about his other intentions, Suyimo was appeased. You want me to be your messenger for such a message? The shop owner broke into a sweat. Of course not. I don't mean it that way. Sensing his tension, Suyimo felt superior and she calmed herself down. I won't say anything about anyone on purpose, but since you've been working hard, CEO Lu would have noticed it himself. The shop owner knew that his trick had worked, so he smiled and thanked her, trying to make her visit to his shop even more memorable. Thank you, Ms. Su. Actually, we have a lot more other goods in the shop. If you're not short on time, take a look around. Before Suyimo could say anything, Liang Biqin scoffed, our good mood has been ruined. What else is there left to see? The shop owner instantly understood and stared at Ningxi, then said coldly, Lady over there, you've been browsing for quite some time already. If you're not buying anything, then please leave. Don't hold up my business. Can't you see that I have a VIP to serve over here? Suyimo casually said, Boss, anyhow she's still your customer. It's not so good to just chase her away, right? People who didn't know better would think that I was discriminating against her. The shop owner became nervous again. Ms. Su, it has nothing to do with you. We have too much low-cost jade stocked up, so we're selling it off at a cheap price and it attracts a lot of customers like her. All test NOVL on novelben/.cm. Usually, such occurrences wouldn't happen. Ms. Su, you know that our shop is a very classy one, and the deals that we usually close are worth about $1 million. I've been thinking of taking these jades off the display counter these few days. Otherwise, we won't have enough people to serve our customers. What if I just take them off now? I promise that no such thing will ever happen again. What do you think? Ningxi was touching her chin, impressed by the owner's speech, thinking that the devil sure hired a lot of talented people who could flatter the heck out of anyone. Suyimo then replied him, You're the owner, you make the decision. Suyimo said it amicably, making the owner relieved, so he confidently turned to Ningxi and rudely told her off, Hey, I'm talking about you. Did you even hear what I just said? We're not selling these lousy jade ornaments anymore, go to the other shops. As expected, Suyimo practically preened herself hearing those words. The shop owner continued flattering his future lady boss and tried his best to chase away this useless customer. His small eyes suddenly spotted 3 men dressed smartly in suits walking straight towards his shop. As they got closer, the owner was shocked to see the leading man with close-shaven hair. How could it be? Why would this man suddenly come here? There had been no notice whatsoever from the management. Could it be a random visit? No, could it be that they knew Suyimo was here, so they came personally? TSK, it seemed like everyone received the news. It was a good thing that he had lavished her with compliments and praises earlier. It was too late for the others now. The shop owner smiled in relief and hurried towards the middle-aged man to welcome him. You. Who would have known? Before he could say anything more, the 3 men ignored him and walked past him, towards the lady who had just offended Suyimo. The shop owner was dumbfounded. You, what is this? Moments before, the shop owner of Jade Treasury had already called security, thinking that if Ningxi was not going to leave, he would have to use brute force. Today could have been perfect, but too bad this woman kept on giving him trouble and even almost made him offend his VIP. What a nuisance! Ningxi glanced at the tiny security guard who did not look very tough. As she was about to say something, a polished formal voice came through. "Miss, are you here to buy some jade?" Ningxi looked up and saw the middle-aged man. "Yes, I am." "What is this about?" The middle-aged man nodded respectfully. "May I have the honor to serve you?" Ningxi took another look at this man again, noticing his tone of voice and cautiousness. She assumed that he was a worker here, so she continued, "I don't think so. Your boss just said that there aren't enough staff to attend to customers, so he's not selling these cheap jades anymore." Hearing these words, the middle-aged man turned around and stared at the shop owner. The shop owner's legs were trembling, and he wiped the beads of sweat off his forehead while remaining silent. The security guard from earlier stepped back against the wall and tried to make himself a wallflower. The middle-aged man turned to Ningxi, pausing in thought before he said, "While it's true that there are other choices as well, even though the general customer profile at Jade Treasury are those in the above-average class, we're very sensitive to our customers' needs. These jades had to be taken off display because they are flawed. Please forgive us." Was the taking off of the jades from the display counter not the owner's act to please Suyimo? Now this worker's explanation was that they were flawed? Ningxi was still rushing to get the present, so she did not think much about it and just nodded. "Oh, then I'll just go somewhere else." She then turned to leave. The middle-aged man stopped her. "Wait. Miss, I meant that, aside from these flawed goods, we have something more suitable for you." He then signaled to the two younger men behind him. They both held a black suitcase each, and upon the signal, they opened their cases together, holding the cases up at chest level in their arms to display in front of Ningxi. The middle-aged man gestured to Ningxi to take a closer look at the goods and explained, "These are some replacement goods we've just gotten. Take a look and see if there's anything you like." "What a coincidence!" Ningxi said, pleasantly surprised. "Giving our best to our customers is our top priority," the middle-aged man answered seriously. Ningxi browsed through the goods, and even though she was not very knowledgeable about precious stones, from just the outlook she could tell that these jades were definitely better quality. She murmured, "They do seem better than the ones I saw just now." Tension left the man's body and he explored, "As long as you're satisfied. May I know what you're looking for? Is it for yourself or for someone else? I can give you some opinions as a reference." Seeing the middle-aged man serve Ningxi attentively, Liang Biqin was unhappy. "Owner, what's wrong with your workers? Are they trying to get on her good side? It's just a small deal over there. Is it really worth it?" How shallow! Like he has never seen money before. The other artistes complained to the shop owner, "Why don't you look after your own workers? How low are their standards?" You can't blame him. I can see that he looks quite old already and must have been working here for many years, yet he's still a lowly worker. He sure has bad eyesight. His way of handling things are so terrible. Why are you still keeping him here? Listening to their conversation, the shop owner's chubby face turned red, and he tried his best to keep up a smile. "Ah, pretty ladies, let's forget about them over there. They aren't affecting us anymore. Have a look around, don't let your mood get affected." On the other hand, Ningxi realized that this worker's attitude was professional, so she let go of the thought of going to another shop. She explained to him, "Soon, it'll be my grandfather's 70th birthday, I'm thinking of giving him a bracelet made of jade beads." The middle-aged man confidently picked up a bracelet. "Miss, what do you think about this?" This bracelet is made up of 29 crystal clear round emerald jade. All of them are made from the same ore, the colors. Ningxi ran her fingers over the beads and her eyes shone. "I actually don't really understand what you've just said, but I really like this one too. I've been looking around since just now, but none of them gave me the urge to buy it." The man smiled. "It means that you have an affinity with this bracelet, which is really rare." Please rest assured that the quality of this bracelet is guaranteed excellent. Ningxi touched the bracelet. I really do like this one, but how much is it? My budget is around $150,000. If it's higher than that, then I'll look at something else. The man replied, what a coincidence. This bracelet costs exactly $150,000. Exactly $150,000? Ningxi's heart leapt in joy. He nodded, plus, we're doing a promotion, so there's another 20% discount. Ningxi was ecstatic as she was worried that all her money would go to the jade and she would have nothing left. Now, with the 20% discount, she would have a bit of money left. Ningxi nodded excitedly, give me this one. Anxiety disappeared from the man's face. All right, I'll pack it up for you right now. Okay, thank you. You're welcome, it's my pleasure to serve you. He personally processed her payment, issued her receipt and packed the bracelet for her. Then, he handed it to her and bowed gracefully, please come again. The owner of Jade Treasury stayed silent the whole time, his wide eyes staring unbelievably at the bracelet Ningxi had just bought with less than $150,000. After Ningxi had left, Suyimo's bunch was still there. Find updated levels on n/v/elben.co/m. Seeing that Ningxi had gone, Liang Biqin was still unhappy and she lashed out on the middle-aged man, hey, you. I'm talking about you. What's wrong with you? Your boss already said that you guys are not selling these cheap jade ornaments anymore. What makes you think that you can make decisions on your own? After hearing what Liang Biqin said, the owner of Jade Treasury was shaking in fright. He tried to stop her from saying any further, but it was already too late. The middle-aged man only glanced at Liang Biqin dismissively, then he shifted his attention to the owner of Jade Treasury. He was different from how he treated Ningxi earlier. His aura was imposing and any trace of friendliness in his voice had vanished. He questioned, why was I not informed about the taking of these goods off display? The owner could not take it anymore, and stammered in terror, Manager it's not what you think, I didn't mean it that way. Suyimo and Liang Biqin's group were shocked to see the owner cowering in fright. Visit Velben. CM for EU ovals. Liang Biqin, who was still scolding the man a while ago, was particularly stunned. Manager, you. Suyimo's expression changed as well. His surname is Yu, could it be? The artistes whispered to each other. What, this worker? No, this man is the manager? What manager? I don't know. Could it be the CEO of the Jade Treasury franchise, Yuanyan? Impossible. Hearing the name Yuanyan, Liang Biqin's face went pale and she whispered, impossible. At that moment, the owner was trying his best to explain himself, Manager Yu, I don't mean that I'm taking them off display permanently. It's just that there weren't enough workers today, so I thought of this. Not enough workers? The middle-aged man glanced at the few workers standing around. The owner knew that he was not able to get himself out of this one, so he went closer to the man and spoke in a hushed tone, Manager Yu, this Ms. Su is a VIP and I had to treat her with extreme care. He then gave him a meaningful glance, seeking for his understanding. Liang Biqin's groupies broadened in pride after hearing the owner's flattery. Humph, who cares if you're the CEO? Even the CEO has to give way to my cousin. Suyimo stared at Liang Biqin, don't be rude. Although she stopped her, she did not show any signs of displeasure. Liang Biqin did not care about anything anymore, and she started yelling, hey, you're the CEO Yuanyan, right? I know that you have your responsibilities, but the owner was just trying to serve us. After all, you should know my cousin here. Right, how much of a big deal is this? The owner saw that Liang Biqin was helping him, and he peered over at Su Yimo with his hopes high up. Seeing the owner's SOS signal, Su Yimo sipped her tea and said, "The owner was just trying to be nice, we'll let this slide off. No more next time." "There, my cousin said so, did you hear that?" The middle-aged man did not change the way he looked at Su Yimo's posse. He averted his sight to the jade bracelet that was held by Liang Biqin. "Miss, I wonder if this bracelet has been paid for already?" Liang Biqin said without hesitation, "Pay? The owner gave this as a gift to my cousin." The middle-aged man looked at the owner brutally and reprimanded him harshly. "You ignored our system, taking off goods on display on your own. Neglected Jade Treasury's motto, and even asked the security to chase off a customer. Disregarded your professionalism by giving away a $2 million bracelet. How dare you, Fong Maokai? Who gave you such authority? Jade Treasury's reputation of 100 years was almost ruined by you." At Yu Wannian's harsh tone, Fong Maokai knew that he was done for. His legs quaked and he felt weak at the knees. Yu Wannian did not even care about Su Yimo. He did not have anyone to count on anymore. He could just apologize. Manager Yu, I'm just confused. I'm too greedy. It's my first time, really. Please forgive me." Yu Wannian looked at him coldly. "First time or not, I'll be the judge of that. You've made quite a number of mistakes here, so don't bother begging me for forgiveness anymore because even I can't keep you here. Go directly to the finance department, get your salary for this month and leave. If further investigation shows that there have been similar incidents before and that the shop has suffered any losses, we'll take the necessary action by then." Fong Maokai widened his eyes and his heart sank. He was done for. If they found out about the previous cases as well. After that, Yu Wannian turned to the other silent workers. "You guys are experienced workers here, but your performance today was disappointing. After so many years, how can you not even possess the basic qualities of a good worker? You dared to mistreat a customer. From today onwards, you don't have to come to work anymore. Manager Yu, we're wrong. Please give us another chance. Get your Avrite Ovals at no/v/e/lbn.com. The shop owner made us do all these." Liang Biqin's posse thought that the manager would give in, but who knew that this would happen? Their faces went pale just listening to the workers begging. Su Yimo particularly felt bad. Even though Yu Wannian was scolding the shop owner, it felt like the sharp words were all directed towards her. After Yu Wannian had settled down, he went up to Su Yimo without even addressing her by her name, as if he did not recognize her. "Miss, I apologize for any inconvenience caused just now. This incident was a mistake by my workers. I'm sorry, but you can't have the jade bracelet." "What? You're taking back what you've just given?" Liang Biqin yelled, then added, "Do you know who my cousin is? Everyone who comes to Jade Treasury has only one identity, our customer." Yu Wannian said calmly, "Of course, if you like it so much, you could just pay for it. In fact, as an apology, I'll offer you a 5% discount." Liang Biqin looked at him in disbelief. 5% discount? He had given Ningxi, that witch, a 20% discount, but only a measly 5% for her cousin. What was he trying to imply? Su Yimo was incredibly upset. She had already been humiliated, whether or not she took this jade. At last, she took a deep breath and handed over her credit card and haughtily said, "You don't have to give me a discount. You're being too courteous, miss, it's a must." Yu Wannian gave the card to the young man behind him. In the end, he still gave her a 5% discount. Su Yimo did not even care about taking the bracelet and just left. Liang Biqin quickly grabbed the jade bracelet from the counter before following her. "Cousin, don't be mad. Yu Wanyan was too arrogant. Just think of it as an accident, we will have plenty of chances to correct him one day. Just wait, he'll regret it then. She's right, Yimo. That Yu Wanyan was not being flexible at all, there was no point arguing with him. We're just unlucky this time. Who knew that Yu Wanyan would come over for a spot check at this time? Ningxi went back to her apartment after shopping for the gift. After she got out of the lift, she took out her keys as she was walking towards her unit. When she looked up, she saw a huge guy standing right in front of her door, blocking her way. Ningxi was dumbfounded. She checked the unit number to see if she had mistakenly gone to the wrong one. Who are you? This is my home and you're in the way. Ms. Ning, I'm Xiongxi. My boss has asked me to protect you, replied the man. He obediently stepped a few steps aside to give her way, and he continued standing there like a bodyguard. Ningxi was surprised by his reply, Boss? Who's your boss? Xiongxi answered, his surname's Lu. Lu, could it be Lu Tingxiao? Ji Xiong nodded, yes. Ningxi felt annoyed. What is he thinking? Why did he suddenly ask you to protect me? Xiongxi replied emotionlessly, my boss asked me to protect your safety during the shooting. Her safety during the shooting? Ningxi suddenly remembered her discussion with Lu Tingxiao about the script last night. At first, Lu Tingxiao had not agreed to it because there were too many dangerous scenes. Could this be a result of that? Ningxi took a deep breath. Bro, even if it's your boss's order, your boss asked you to protect me during the shooting. Right now, we're far from starting. Aren't you being here way too early? Explore Tati stories at no/l/bin.cm. When will you be starting? Xiongxi asked. I'm not really sure about when, but it definitely won't start anytime soon. Ningxi replied. Xiongxi thought about it, then looked up. Since you're not sure, then anything is possible. You might start tomorrow, or even now. I must execute my boss's orders. Ningxi was defeated by his logic, but if you stand here all day, you might affect my life, and I don't know how to explain it to other people if they see you here. Xiongxi thought about it again and nodded, okay, I understand. He then proceeded to leave. Ah. While he looked sturdy, he was easier to negotiate with than expected. Ningxi was relieved as she entered her home. After she went in, she sent Lu Tingxiao a text message, telling him that he did not need to send someone to protect her. Following that, there was no reply, it was dead silent. Usually, when she messaged Lu Tingxiao, he would reply almost instantly. This was the first time that he had not replied after quite some time. He was probably busy working outstation. Ningxi did not worry about it too much. Instead, she took out the bracelet she had just bought and had another good look at it. It was probably because she had bought it with her first ever endorsement paycheck that the more she looked at it, the more she liked it. She looked at it for some time before keeping it away carefully. After reading some entertainment news and going through her script, nighttime soon arrived. No notification from the phone at all. Lu Tingxiao still had not replied her. Ningxi frowned. He should have finished work by now and was likely having dinner. Did he not notice the message? Or did he see it but did not reply? For some reason, Ningxi felt worried. Damn it! She was being too sensitive. It was only half a day that he had not replied her. Why was she feeling that way? Ningxi shook her head, put her phone aside and went off to get her dinner to stop herself from overthinking. The next morning. There was no work that day, so Ningxi went for a morning jog and bought breakfast for herself. As she was walking home, she felt uneasy. It seemed like someone was tailing her. Ningxi did not freak out. Instead, she calmly took some rougher paths so that she could shake off the stalker and hide. Soon, a large shadow loomed in front of the walkway. Ningxi timed herself just in time to rush forward and climb onto his back to lock the person's arms in a death grip. "Who are you?" The man turned around and she gasped, "You again?" Visit no, v3lb/n.cm for new OVL. He was the guy who came last night, Xiongji. She thought that he had left her alone. Who would have guessed that he merely changed his method of so-called protection? Ningxi let out a long sigh. "Didn't I say that we won't start shooting anytime soon? Not at least for another 1 or 2 months. You can relax." "Miss, I'm just executing my boss's orders," Xiongji replied matter-of-factly. Ningxi rubbed her temples helplessly. Lu Tingxi had such a dependable man under him. As Ningxi thought about how to convince him, Xiongji suddenly whipped out his phone. His expression was one of uncertainty and he murmured, "Why did the boss ask me to go there?" "Boss? What boss? Do you mean Lu Tingxiao?" Ningxi had been waiting for Lu Tingxiao's reply since last night and she felt worried. Now that there was some news about Lu Tingxiao, she could not help but take a peek at it. The message said, "From the boss himself, everyone, no matter where you are, gather at this point immediately, the Arsenal, Philadelphia, America. Coordinates XXX." The message was sent by someone named Brother Hao, probably one of Lu Tingxiao's men. Ningxi froze after she saw the message. Philadelphia, America. Crap! Lu Tingxiao had actually gone to Philadelphia. Wasn't Philadelphia somewhere that bastard YS frequented? And the message mentioned an arsenal. Why would Lu Tingxiao suddenly summon his men to the arsenal? Could it be related to that guy? If it was true, it would be a huge problem. Xiongji put his phone away and told Ningxi in a hurried voice, "Miss, I need to go to Philadelphia now. Please wait for my return before you start shooting." Ningxi was getting more and more anxious and she raised her voice, "I've already said that it's not going to happen anytime soon." What happened to Lu Tingxiao? Didn't he just go away for work? Why is it related to an arsenal now? Xiongji had a troubled expression as he realized Ningxi had seen the content of the message. "Miss, I cannot tell you now, I don't have time to explain anymore, please pardon me." He then ran away as fast as he could. While he was as sturdy as a bear, he actually sped off pretty quickly. Ningxi was worried sick. Damn it, what could have happened to Lu Tingxiao? A thought came to her mind. Instead of worrying and waiting, why not follow him? It would be best if nothing happened. At most, she would just come back quietly. However, if something had really happened. At last, Ningxi looked at the direction Xiongji left and made a decision. She quickly ran upstairs to grab her passport and rushed to the airport without any further delay. Upon arriving at the airport, Ningxi looked up the most likely flight Xiongji could have taken to Philadelphia. As expected, he had booked the next flight out to Philadelphia, so she bought one a ticket as well and followed him undetected. Cold air greeted them when they got off the plane. Philadelphia's weather that day was not very nice. It was drizzling, and Ningxi could sense danger in the air with the ominous clouds moving across the sky slowly. After they got off the plane, Ningxi hid her presence. It was probably because Xiongji was in a hurry that he did not notice Ningxi following him. In Philadelphia, America. Xiongji took out his .22 semi-automatic pistol. While the gun was small, it was destructive and had a lot of power. This pistol had saved Xiongji from numerous dangerous situations. From all the experience from his previous dangerous missions, Xiongji had a bad feeling about this. Like a beast, he could smell it in the air. Ningxi hid in a corner and she could sense something was wrong too. Watched carefully by the girl, Xiongji took a deep breath and went into the deserted pitch-black arsenal. Weird, why would the boss ask us to gather here? A while after Xiongji had entered, a small car zoomed by and came to a halt. The passenger door opened after the car was parked, and out came one of Lu Tingxiao's most trusted henchmen, Shi Shao. Soon, 2 other thugs got down and followed Shi Shao behind. Leader, why do you think boss gathered us here? This place looks like an abandoned arsenal. I remember this arsenal. It should be an Italian mafia gang site. Does boss have any relationship to the Italian mafia gangs? They looked doubtfully at each other. Discover W stories on no/e/lbin.com. Italian mafia gangs? Shi Shao looked a little confused. These 2 men of his were pretty influential in Philadelphia. Otherwise, Shi Shao wouldn't have kept them as his henchmen. Of all people, they would be knowledgeable about the distribution of power in the area. Italian mafia, but the arsenal has already been abandoned and it shouldn't be of any use now. One of the men nodded at this statement. Boss gathered us at an Italian mafia gang's abandoned arsenal. Shi Shao mumbled, his expression tight. Worried, he then told them, be careful, act accordingly. His instincts were telling him to be on high guard. Shi Shao then went into the arsenal with his 2 men. At the corner, Ningxi sneaked up behind them and went in as well. The arsenal was dark, full of the stench of stale ale. No light from the outside could not get inside, so both Ningxi and Shi Shao's group of men could not see clearly. Be careful, Shi Shao said in a low gravelly voice to his men. They heard the click-clack of a gun reloading, and the 2 men became uneasy. Could it be that it was not the boss who had gathered Shi Shao here? Take out your phone for light. See what's happening, instructed Shi Shao. Yes, boss, one of the men said, taking out his phone and turning on the torchlight mode. As the light pierced through the dark spots of the arsenal, Shi Shao's eyes flew wide open. Xiongji was lying on the floor, bruised and bloody. Xiongji! Instinctively, Shi Shao went forward to help Xiongji get up. Damn it, there's a spy, yelled Xiongji, recognizing Shi Shao. Spy? Shi Shao got even more nervous, his grip on his gun increasingly firm in his sweaty palms. He should have trusted his instincts that doubted the reason his boss would gather them at a place like this. Shi Shao, run! Quickly, it's a trap! Boss isn't here! Xiongji howled like a beast, his veins bulging out of his forehead, and his eyes bloodshot. Before Shi Shao could say anything, a blinding light was turned on and the pitch-dark arsenal suddenly became bright as day. Shi Shao and Xiongji's group squinted in the light as they heard the sound of the arsenal doors being closed. After Shi Shao's eyes adjusted to the strong light, he saw the metal door was already locked, sealing them in. Ha ha ha, you bunch of idiots! From inside of the arsenal, they heard footsteps and voices speaking Mandarin. 4 foreign men showed up in tight t-shirts with their muscles bulging through the fabric of their shirts, followed by a long-haired foreign woman in a black outfit. One of the bald men had tattoos all over his shoulder, neck, and even on his head. He looked at Shi Shao and Xiongji with a snarl and despise clearly written on his face. Shi Shao finally understood that their boss Lu Tingxiao was not here. More specifically, he had not gathered them here. It was that damned Hong Jinhao who had tricked them here. Hong Jinhao, you son of a witch! Damn you! Shi Shao cursed with a red face. Shi Shao and Xiongji now had no doubt that it was Hong Jinhao at all. When they had received the message that Lu Tingxiao was waiting here for them, they suspected nothing. Who knew, in the end, they both got trapped here. Hong Jinhao was the spy. Ha ha ha, you bunch of stupid pigs, the tattooed bald man guffawed loudly. On the side, the foreign lady kept silent while she toyed around with her black pistol. You guys, who are you? Do you know who Lu Tingxiao is? We're Lu Tingxiao's men. We dare you to even touch a strand of hair on us, yelled one of Shi Zhao's men, sweating profusely. Get your avrite ovals at no/v/e/lbn.com. Shi Zhao stared at him helplessly. It was far too late already. What else was there to say? No matter who they were, spending all the effort to trick them to come here was a blatant enough hint that they would be killing them. I'll have all of you die here today, and roast you guys like pigs, roared the bald man, staring at them fiercely. The man who had threatened the bald men and his gang suddenly yelled angrily, whipping out his pistol and aiming it at the bald man, "You're going down with us." Alice, finish off that pig, the bald man ordered coldly. As soon as the order was given, the lady held up her gun. Bam! The bullet accurately ricocheted off the man's gun. Ah! The man's right palm felt numb and he could not feel any sensation in it anymore. The impact of the gunshot was too strong, causing him to release his gun. He then backed away a few steps and stumbled onto the floor. Shi Zhao and Xiongxi had a really bad feeling about this. The lady's shooting was extraordinarily accurate. And her reflexes were lightning fast, she did not let anyone have the chance to even move an inch. Oh, Alice baby, why didn't you just kill the pig? The bald man looked at her questionably. I don't need a gun to kill him, I'll use my bare hands, she replied in a matter-of-fact tone, calmly walking towards the man. The foreign lady walked steadily but swiftly, her tight bodysuit showing off her svelte figure. You witch, you dare to face me without a gun? I'll take you down right now, screamed Shi Zhao's man, sweat dripping off his forehead as his young brave soul gave him the courage to face her. She flipped him off without a word. The man went mad, fueled by the thought that they were all going to die anyway. His only goal raging in his mind now was to bring this woman down with him. The man roared and ran towards the lady, raising his fist to land a blow on her head. Ariad updated s-tirise at n/vel/bin.com. Before the man could even get within a foot of her, a dark shadow whizzed past him. He heard the sound of the breeze before he registered a sharp pain in his jaw. Like a broken kite, he fell down and crashed into a steel pillar, causing a loud noise. Amen. The man was trying to get up from the ground but had no strength to even prop himself up. His face was full of blood and his teeth were smashed in as well, causing him to not be coherent. The foreign lady gently brought her foot down from the kick, expressionless. Her victim did not see anything but Xiongxi and Shi Zhao were spectators to the whole scene. Before the man could even close in, the lady had unleashed a quick and powerful front kick right smack on his jaw with a force so great that they had no doubt she was professionally trained. That was probably a taekwondo kick, but for a woman to have such force and accuracy, how rare. Shi Zhao mumbled, his eyes shining in fascination and terror at the same time. Throughout all these years, Shi Zhao had learned most of the killing techniques and he recognized some good skills in her execution. However, if it had been him, he would still be able to take her down. Unfortunately, there were numerous guns pointing at them right now, and the consequences would be deadly if he acted carelessly. I don't need a gun to kill you, I just need my hands, repeated the lady, walking behind the man expressionless, and without giving the man a chance to say anything, she wrapped her forearm around his neck and choked him to death. The other man on Shi Zhao's team went pale, not daring to say anything and trying his best not to attract any attention. Ha ha ha, pigs being pigs. Alice holds a red belt in Taekwondo. Idiots, stupid pigs, the bald man laughed. Phiro, it's red black belt, not red, corrected the lady. Oh, my dear Alice, my bad, it's red black belt. That's better than red, and you'll be getting your black belt soon. You're right, the bald man said apologetically. What do you guys want? Xiongji could not hold it in anymore and yelled at them. Ha ha ha, don't rush, I want to play an interesting game with you dumb pigs, said the bald man, signaling the duo in front of him. Soon, the two foreign men took out two heavy boxes, putting them beside Xiongji and Shao. What does this mean? Zhao's brows closed in. It's simple, there are some guns inside. They are fairly difficult to recognize, and if you get one wrong, I'll kill one of you. Fair game, the bald man shrugged. At that point, Shao and Xiongji understood that these foreigners were treating them as entertainment, like a cat playing with a mouse before finally ending its life. What if we are able to recognize them? Shao asked. Recognize them? The bald man obviously had not thought about this. Oh, if you guys are able to recognize them, then you get to stay alive for a little while longer, and you'll continue to look at more guns. I think eventually there'll be guns that are unfamiliar to you, ha ha ha, the bald man laughed triumphantly. Although inside them was a storm raging with fury, they had to cooperate with these men and try to buy themselves more time. Otherwise, they might be killed immediately if they did not comply. But the moment Xiongji and Shao opened the box, they were both dumbfounded. They had totally no clue what the firearms in the box were called. More specifically, they had never seen any of them before. This. Shao felt helpless. What now? Can't you recognize them? Ha ha ha, we'll play by the rules, so I'll start off by killing one of you. The bald man raised his arms and aimed his gun at Xiongji, then as if indecisive, he moved it to point at Shao, and he repeated this a few times. Suddenly, a voice appeared from out of nowhere inside the arsenal. I'll do it, Ningxi announced, going up to the box. The foreigners were surprised by Ningxi's appearance as they had not detected her presence and had no idea how she got in here. Apart from the foreigners, Xiongji and Shao were shocked as well. This woman, how did she get in here? You? Shao stared at Ningxi in anger. Finally, he yelled, how in the world did you get in here? Ningxi ignored his roaring and focused on the guns instead, her face mesmerized by the firearms. Xiongji, what's up with this woman? You brought an actress here at such a crucial moment? What's wrong with you? Shao roared at Xiongji. Xiongji was confused by what had happened as well. He had no inkling that Ningxi had been here all along. Did she think that it was all an act? Damn it! Tell me, did she think that this was all an act? Zhao's face darkened. I don't know, she followed me on her accord in secret. Xiongji tried to explain. Bastard! Shao cursed, then threw a glare at Ningxi, you're just an actress, what do you know? Get lost! Do you want to die? Ningxi suddenly spun around to face him and gave him a chilling stare. Ha ha ha, conflict within your own team, great. I like it, give me more, the bald man said in excitement. Poor things, fear made them lose their minds, the foreign lady said coldly. Her answers don't count, I'll do it. Shao had no choice but to do it. How could he put their lives in the hands of this stupid actress? She might really think that this was all an act. The bald man shook his head, no, no, no. She already said she was going to do it. If you want to change the person who will answer now, I'll take it as a forfeit and kill one of you. Zhao's nostrils flared in frustration as he stared at Ningxi fiercely and imagined killing her with his bare hands right now. He could not understand why would his charismatic boss, the great Lu Tingxiao who convinced him to swear his loyalty, fall in love with this stupid actress. Ningxi ignored Shao and casually picked an exquisite pistol out of the box. She confidently spouted, Austrian Glock 17 pistol, exclusively used by the Austrian military. Total length 185 millimeters, around 600 grams in weight, and if I'm not wrong, the barrel length should be 114 millimeters. The magazine can load up to 17 bullets, and it has a shooting range up to 72 meters. Lu Tingxiao's men had despair scrawled all over their faces. To put it nicely, she could be called a professional actress, but in truth, she was just a freshie. How would she know about firearms? What a massive joke! You damned witch! You're trying to kill us. Just go and sleep with those directors and producers if you're looking for attention. What are you doing here, spouting nonsense? Do you think you're shooting a scene here? Raged one of the men whom Shi Xiao brought. He almost wanted to kill Ningxi right there and then. Yet, Ningxi acted like she had not heard anything. Instead, she toyed about with the gun and said, "Is this all you have?" Most American FBI agents are using these anyway. Ningxi then threw the Austrian Glock 17 aside. They really were unknowledgeable about pistols. Shi Xiao and Xiongji would be the experts if there were any weapons with more penetrative power. Although Ningxi had given a seemingly reliable answer, Shi Xiao still could not believe her. In his eyes, Ningxi was just a small actress with an irrelevant career. What would she know about firearms? So, tell me now, am I right? As Lu Tingxiao's men were feeling anxious, Ningxi prompted the bald man for an answer. The bald man grinned. The woman was correct. She had even stated the special features of the gun along with the pros and cons of an Austrian Glock 17. It seemed like she had handled a similar pistol before. Ha ha ha, it's a good thing that you have a smart woman there, good. Go on, the game is just starting, the bald man laughed heartily. Lu Tingxiao's men had a moment of confusion when they heard the mafia's satisfied reply. What? The actress got it right? Damn! So close! Shi Zhao's man was sweating heavily, and he suddenly remembered something. Right, since she's an actress, she might know about that Glock something pistol because of some shooting scenes she has acted in before. Shi Xiao and Xiongji thought about it carefully. What the man said made sense. Ningxi worked as an actress and would have come across some gunfight scenes. It was probably a coincidence that she had been in contact with a Glock 17 pistol model before, and she probably had familiarized herself with it due to the nature of her work. What a close one! Xiongji took in a deep breath. The consequences would be deadly if Ningxi had said even one word wrong. We want a substitute. Shi Xiao said suddenly. Ningxi must have recognized the Austrian Glock out of sheer luck. If she continued this way, they might all just die here when her luck ran out. Your F48 stories on /o/v/lbn.cm. Yes, a substitute. Shi Zhao's man agreed as well. It would be better for them to continue rather than put the fate of their lives in the hands of a silly actress. Even if they got it wrong, at least they could decide their own fate. Nope, like I said, if you substitute now, I'll take it as a forfeit. Are you sure you want to? If yes, then I'll start off by killing one of you pigs, the bald man leered unkindly. He was really enjoying this game of the cat and mouse. After all, when he got bored of this, all of them would still be dead meat. He was the game master here, so he made the rules. Shi Zhao's man glared at Ningxi. If we manage to leave this place alive, I'll skin you alive. Ha ha ha, I really love seeing you pigs fight among yourselves, but you don't get a say whether you can leave here alive or not. Now, if you don't want to die, then continue the game, the bald man chuckled coldly. Shi Xiao and Xiongji clenched their fists tightly and felt helpless. Under the current circumstances, they could only pray that reinforcement was on the way, and if boss Lu Tingxiao had no idea about this at all, then all of them would surely die here. Ningxi looked calm and did not seem to be affected by Shi Zhao's group of men or the bald man. She looked through the box and casually picked up another gun. What an old gun. It seems like you've prepared well for this game, Ningxi said calmly. The bald man did not say anything and just smiled as he stared at Ningxi. I don't believe that you can recognize this pistol, declared the lady, Alice, who was standing in front of the bald man. Ningxi suddenly looked up and locked her sights on Alice. You're right, I don't recognize this pistol. Shi Xiao and Xiongzhi felt a sharp chill shoot down their spines even though they expected this to happen. You damned witch, I'll kill you. Shi Xiao's man was exasperated and nearly lost all reasoning. He was going to die because of this actress. Everything was this actress's fault. Bang! As the man charged towards Ningxi, a spark exploded from the gun in the bald man's hand, destroying the floor tiles right in front of the man. Shards of broken tile flew everywhere, and the sound of the gunshot was as loud as thunder, striking fear in the hearts of those present. Find the new ST Ovals on n/velben.com. Your life isn't up to you right now. The decision lies with me. You will die if I decide that you should die. Do you want to break my rules now, stupid pig? The bald man grinned and stared at Shi Xiao's quivering man. The man's senses came back and cold sweat poured from his forehead. He shook his head in terror and backed off immediately without saying anything. Ha ha ha, I love obedient stupid pigs, said the bald man, satisfied with his victim's deference. He then looked at Ningxi. Since you can't recognize this, then we'll just have to follow the rules of the game, ha ha ha. Ningxi shook her head and said, don't jump to conclusions so quickly. Huh? The bald man was confused. Although I haven't been in contact with this type of gun before, judging from the diameter of the barrel and its weight in my hands, plus its unique design, it isn't that difficult to guess. Guess? Everyone was speechless. This woman was trying to simply guess. Did she not fear death? Ningxi assessed the pistol and weighted it approximately, then said calmly, around 1,000 grams in weight, the total length should be about 180 millimeters, and the carbon steel impact socket has been modified before using a special metal coating. The caliber is 0.46 inches, about 12 millimeters, and with a caliber this special, it can only load a 0.45-inch Smith & Wesson bullet. The magazine can only load up to 12 bullets since it's one of the earlier designs. Even though I've never been in contact with it before, old designs like this are easy to guess. I'm pretty sure that this is the P229 that was acquired by the Germans in 1991. It should be the SIG Sauer P229 pistol, she finished, throwing the gun aside again. Shi Xiao's men did not have any hope left and they were praying that Ningxi knew something about the gun from her previous acting experiences, just like the luck she had last round. But naturally, they were prepared for a fight. If things went south, they would all charge up to the foreigners, taking down as many as they could since they would not have been spared anyway. So? Is my answer correct or not? Ningxi looked at the silent bald man, expressionless. The bald man only replied sometime later with a cold tone, I heard he said that you're an actress. You're right, Ningxi did not deny it. She was an actress now, working hard on her own, charging towards her own goal with her talents and effort. No wonder, as an actress you'd have been involved in gunfight scenes. So that's how you know about these guns, it's nothing too impressive, the bald man scoffed and took her knowledge for granted. Actress? What a useless piece of trash that only knows how to sell her body and get involved in dirty deals. Killing a disgusting pig like you would be best done with just my hands, sneered Alice, glaring at Ningxi fiercely as she instinctively hated actresses. Hee hee, my dear Alice, I'm bored of this game already. Why not we change the rules? What's more interesting than recognizing guns? The bald man asked Alice suggestively. Didn't you like seeing them fight among themselves? Just let them kill one another off, and we can just enjoy their performances, replied Alice. Right, that reminds me, the bald man said and stood up with a smile as he looked at Shi Zhao's man. Stupid pig, didn't you want to kill that woman just now? Here's your chance, go on and choke her to death and I'll consider sparing your life. What do you think? You don't get rare chances like this very often in your life. Shi Zhao's man, whose white shirt was soaked in sweat, had a shift in his expression. Are you serious? If you are. Before he could finish, the bald man laughed. Of course, my buddy, I'm someone who honors the rules. As long as you follow my rules, then you'll have a chance to live. All right, it's a deal. Shi Zhao's man said would be no different from stepping on an ant. I dare you! Xiongxi roared at him like an enraged beast. Lu Tingxiao had strictly ordered him to protect the actress. Stupid pig, don't do anything reckless and just watch. If not, I'll shoot your brains out, another foreign man said to Xiongxi while pointing a gun at him. Xiongxi knew that if he did anything more, a bullet would be sent right through his skull, finned the new Stvel. Xiongxi had his fists balled up tightly, his blue veins protruding through his skin. With his boss order, if he was not able to comply and survive this, he would not be able to face his boss Lu Tingxiao. Easy, don't move now, it's not your turn to die yet. But if you're not going to cooperate, things will get complicated. After all, we have a lot of time on our hands, you stupid pigs. The game has just started, ha ha ha, said the bald man smugly, as if he was fated to come out of this situation a winner. Shi Zhao, that's your underling. The boss gave orders to protect Ms. Ning's safety. Even if you're not helping, don't let your underling mess it up. Xiongxi ignored the bald man's warning and yelled at Shi Zhao. Shi Zhao's brows furrowed. Even though he disliked the stupid woman, he didn't want her to die. Don't do it! Shi Zhao yelled at the man in the white shirt. Damn it! The man in white shirt spat on the floor with a ferocious look on his face. Don't bother me now. Leader Shi Zhao, you brought me here to the arsenal to meet boss, but look at what has happened. It's a trap. We're almost dead here. She's just an actress. She should be honored that my life can be traded for her death. Actually, he was not specifically against Ningxi. As long as he could live, he would not have any doubts even if they asked him to kill Xiongxi or even Shi Zhao at this point. Don't worry, you have your rules, I have mine as well. Ningxi smiled and she took out a pistol from the box. Find the new Stvels on n/velben.com. Stupid pig, you're looking for trouble. The rules of the game have changed. Don't you dare touch the guns, put it down, shouted Alice as she stood up. My dear Alice, don't mind her. The guns have no bullets in them, all the magazines are empty, bragged the bald man, laughing as everything was under his control. Seeing his nonchalance, Alice shrugged and sat back down. Do you guys know that this is an Italian Beretta 92F pistol? Ningxi said lightly as she took out the magazine. You're right, it's an Italian Beretta, but what about it? The game is long over. Whether you can recognize the guns or not doesn't matter anymore. You're going to be killed by one of your own, ha ha ha, I'm already excited just thinking about it. Looking at you stupid pigs killing each other, spilling blood everywhere, how wonderful is that? The bald man threw his head back and laughed like a psychopath. Ningxi shook her head, the main point of this pistol is that it can use the same bullets. Before she could finish, the man in white shirt charged at her like the wind. You damned witch, go to hell, the man in white shirt roared. As most small pistols. Ningxi mumbled to herself, at the same time she leaped. With everyone looking on unbelievably, she rammed her knee into the abdomen of the man. Ugh! His face spasmed as slimy liquid was excreted from his mouth and he fell backwards upon the impact of Ningxi's knee attack. Before he could hit the ground, Ningxi caught his shoulder, a fistful of his shirt in her hand. Bam! Without realizing what just happened, Ningxi had tossed him onto the floor. At the same time, Ningxi had a few bullets in her hand, and within a blink of an eye, she loaded the magazine she was holding all along with astonishing precision. Ah! Shi Zhao's man moaned while holding his head in his hands. Ningxi's extraordinary fighting ability had far exceeded his expectations, so much so that he could not even do anything about it. Killing that actress? What a joke! She had such excellent capabilities hidden under her soft demeanor. How could that be? At that moment, Ningxi had already loaded the Italian Beretta 92F pistol with 7 bullets. Long before, Ning had already noticed that all the guns in the box were all emptied of their magazines. The foreigners were not stupid enough to give them loaded firearms. So when Ningxi was looking at the first gun, she had already formulated a plan. She was trying to buy herself more time in the first round, and the second round was to get the foreigners to let down their guard. As for the third round, Ningxi already had her plan ready. In the pocket of Shi Zhao's man, there were some convex-shaped items which looked like bullets, and it was impossible for Ningxi to mistake a bullet's shape. Plus, in places like Philadelphia, it was normal for gang members to have extra bullets on them for emergency use. Ningxi also realized that due to the foreigners' pride, they had not taken away the weapons on Lu Tingxiao's men, as they thought that everything was under their control. At first, Ningxi wanted to take advantage of their pride and take away the pistol from the white shirt man, but in the end, she forfeited this plan. The gun that Shi Zhao's man had brought was a custom-made one. Ningxi did not know anything about its shooting range, penetrative power, and accuracy. If she used it and made a mistake, she and Lu Tingxiao's men would have been dead without a doubt. And in the box lay one of Ningxi's favorites, the Italian Beretta 92F pistol. She was sure that if she used it, there would be an 80% chance of them getting out of this pinch. Shi Zhao and Xiongji were both dumbfounded by Ningxi's moves. What an awesome performance! Who could have guessed that such explosive power was hidden under her weak and soft appearance? Ningxi had the loaded Italian Beretta 92F pistol already aimed at the bald man. Stupid pigs! Kill that damn woman right now, exploded the bald man. The selling point of the Italian Beretta 92F was that it could use about 90% of the bullets produced from Philadelphia, so one did not need to worry about running out of ammo. As the bald man was talking, he quickly pointed his gun towards Ningxi and intended to kill her first. He was full of confidence with his marksmanship. However, before his aim could even reach Ningxi, her gun fired. Bang! Discover new chapters at novelby.co. A loud gunshot echoed throughout the place, as her aim met its mark and blood flowed out of the bald man's forehead. Thump! The bald man fell over and his body twitched a little before he breathed his last breath. Ningxi did not even look at the bald man. Her sight was set on Shi Zhao and the moaning man in the white shirt the whole time. What sort of marksmanship? She didn't even need to look. Gulped Xiongji, clearly impressed. Both Xiongji and Shi Zhao were shocked, their minds going completely blank. What had just happened had gone way out of their expectations. Was Ningxi really just a normal actress? What did you say just now? Ningxi was cold like ice, her tone sending goosebumps across everyone's skins. You witch! Get her! A few of the foreigners came back to their senses after realizing what had happened, and they lifted their arms to aim their guns at Ningxi. Bam! 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 A few more gunshots exploded in the air. Blood flowed out of the foreheads of the foreign men, their eyes opened wide in shock, and they then fell on the floor soon after. Top VL updates on n/o/v/lb/in.com. That was incredibly fast, simply too fast. Ms. Ning, she is way too fast. Xiongji babbled, impressed. No, she's not just fast. Her accuracy is terrifying. The range that she shot at was precisely the maximum shooting range of the gun she used. Extraordinary speed plus advanced calculations, and precise accuracy. There is no way that she is just an actress. Who in the world is she? Xiongji would never believe that an actress could be capable of this feat. A bitter smile came to him. What was his boss was thinking, asking him to protect a woman like Ningxi? Did she even need protection? More likely than not, she should be protecting someone else. Shao seemed like he wanted to say something but stopped. Ningxi did not even look at the foreigners the whole time, appearing like she was shooting at random, but all of her shots hit their target, while the enemy had no chance to even counterattack. In the end, the only one left standing was Alice. Ah! The man in the white shirt was still keening in pain like a pig being killed. How troublesome, get lost. Ningxi kicked the man in the guts and he rolled away in pain, just to get away from her. Both Shao and Xiongji did not dare to say anything, especially Shao. He was not afraid of Ningxi's explosive power and her fighting skills, but it was her gun, and her terrifying marksmanship. You're lucky, had it been a few years ago, you'd have been dead already, talking to me like that. Ningxi glanced at Shao, do you understand? Why, yes, Shao clenched his teeth and gave in to her, his instinct strongly urging him not to pick a fight with this woman. Ms. Ningxi, quickly kill that woman. Xiongji said quickly as soon as he saw Alice was still alive. Ningxi looked at Alice and said, what was it you said just now? About me only knowing how to sell my body, and that you only need your hands to kill me? Alice frowned at her and said coldly, you're nothing in my eyes, you stupid pig. Alice quickly whipped out her gun. Bam! Ningxi was faster. Alice was taken aback by Ningxi's speed, but the shot intentionally missed her, hitting her gun instead. Paw! Alice's gun was flung around 10 meters away from her. Awesome! Now kill her! Xiongji said excitedly. I ran out of bullets. Ningxi tossed her emptied gun away and shrugged, well, we need someone to be alive anyway. You're dead meat. Alice glared with rage as she charged in swiftly and prepared to throw a punch. Red black belt holders nowadays are so cocky. Ningxi shook her head with a calm expression, not even bothering to take Alice seriously. Be careful, that woman is dangerous. Xiongji reminded her. As soon as he finished his sentence, Ningxi swung her right leg high up and swiftly brought it down. Caw! Just as Alice was just closing in on Ningxi, Ningxi's kick was already in downward motion, and it landed right on Alice's head with a crack. Alice lost consciousness and lay on the floor unmoving. Passed out? Xiongji stammered in surprise. Ningxi had defeated the foreign lady with just one kick. I forgot to tell you that, I'm a black belt, Ningxi said calmly after she had rendered Alice unconscious. Looking back at what had just happened, Shao and Xiongji were stunned speechless. Ningxi. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the silence. That voice. Lu Tingxiao? Boss. Ningxi quickly ran over and examined him from head to toe, and only after confirming that he was all right, she let out a sigh of relief. You're okay. That's great. You. At this moment Lu Tingxiao was furious beyond words, his body was burning up feverishly with rage and the anger was eating through his heart. Who allowed you to come here? This was the first time that Ningxi had ever seen Lu Tingxiao this angry, and she was scared. Boss, you're scary. Lu Tingxiao clenched his teeth. You actually know what fear is? Ningxi put on a pitiful expression and said weakly, of course I'm scared, I'm just a girl. I almost died just now. My legs are still shaking. Boss, don't yell at me anymore, I need some comfort. Shao and Xiongji were totally speechless by the scene. Both of them were annoyed at Ningxi. Just a moment ago, she was still acting all high and mighty. Which part of her looked afraid? Was she suffering from schizophrenia? The boss would never believe her. You. When Lu Tingxiao saw the girl's panicked expression, he just restrained his inner rage and decided not to bother her with the issue anymore. He took a deep breath and pat the girl's head with his wide palms to comfort her. Don't be scared, I'm here. Ningxi let out a long sigh and secretly patted her chest as she had just skipped a major disaster. Boss was really scary when he was angry. She then continued weakly, I'm not scared anymore after I saw you, boss. As long as you don't yell at me. Discover EU chapters at novelby.co. Lu Tingxiao looked apologetic. I'm sorry, my bad, I won't do that ever again. Shi Xiao and Xiongji were speechless again. What had just happened? Who was this person? Was this their boss, Lu Tingxiao? Or was this not actually their boss, but was another trap set up by their enemy? The only one who was still relaxed about all this was Ching Feng, who stood behind Lu Tingxiao. He pushed his glasses up his nose and looked at them with a face that seemed to scoff at them as young punks who did not know better. On the way out of the arsenal, Ningxi was relieved to know that Lu Tingxiao was fine as she looked at the scenery outside of the car window. Philadelphia, the last time she had been there, it was bustling as ever. What was now left was a devastated state as a result of a war. Lu Tingxiao set his sights on Ningxi as she looked out of the window. UW evils up tes on nov/l/bi.com. No matter how thorough his plans were, when he reached the arsenal with his men, he completely did not expect to see Ningxi, who was supposed to be safe and sound back at home, appearing at such a dangerous place. Aside from fear, he was astonished by what he saw. Within a matter of seconds, everyone had lost their lives under her gunfire and of course, that single heavy blow of hers that defeated the foreign lady. At that moment, the girl had a totally different aura around her, a strange aura that he had never seen before. There were no traces of the Ningxi he knew, as if she was just another stranger. But he knew. That girl was still Ningxi. It was the past version of her. But when he saw her going up to him happily and pitifully tell him how scared she was, he knew that she was still the girl whom he knew. Ningxi turned back and her eyes met with Lu Tingxiao's. She gulped, boss, why are you looking at me? Are you trying to get back at me now? You said that you wouldn't be angry with me anymore. Lu Tingxiao reined in his thoughts and said kindly, I still have something else to handle in Philadelphia. Do you want to go back first or are you leaving with me later on? Ningxi replied after she had given it some thought, I'll go back with you. She then explained, well, I don't really have any work these few days and it's such a rare occasion that I can get out of the country. I guess I'll take this chance to have a short vacation. Lu Tingxiao looked at her solemnly and said in a slightly colder tone than usual, if you're leaving together with me, you're going to stay within my sight for the next few days. Huh? Ningxi looked troubled, then wouldn't I be bored to death? Lu Tingxiao's face suddenly darkened. Ningxi quickly rephrased, no. How would I be bored when I'm with you, boss? It's a great honor to be able to stay by your honor's side. At the back of the car, Xiongji coughed lightly and with a low voice he said, Ms. Ningxi, is she schizophrenic? Shi Xiao rolled his eyes at him, screw that schizophrenic crap. Don't you see now? She was taking boss on a ride all along. So she was just acting around boss? Xiongji was still confused, then how do you explain boss' attitude towards Ms. Ningxi? Shi Xiao had no comeback for this one, so he mumbled, how would I know? I was terrified. After all, he almost thought that his boss who had appeared just now was an imposter. Ching Feng, who was listening to their conversation while working on the documents the whole time, could not hold it in anymore. what would you single dudes know? It's the power of love. They finally reached a safe area. In the hotel, Lu Tingxiao brought her directly into his room. He led her to sit on the sofa, then proceeded to the balcony to make a phone call. A while later, Qing Feng brought Ningxi a PSP game console, a few fashion magazines, and some snacks. After he had settled Ningxi down, Lu Tingxiao gathered his men for a meeting. Through a window from the meeting room, he could see Ningxi in the living room. He literally was not going to leave her out of his sight. Ningxi sat in the middle of her ring consisting of the game console, magazines, and snacks, feeling like a pet waiting for its master's return. A while later, Qing Feng, Shi Shao, Xiong Shi and a few other people walked past her. The other people who had never seen Ningxi before were surprised that there was such a cute girl in the living room. Shi Shao and Xiong Shi's mouth twitched a little as they saw her obediently sitting on the sofa with her magazines. Ningxi was not in the mood for leisure right now, so she glanced at Lu Tingxiao and saw that he was very focused on his discussion. She quickly sent someone a text message, "Yun, you bastard." She added a lot of exclamation marks to express her rage. A reply came back quickly. "Yun, I dare you to say it again." A threat now, huh? How dare he? Ningxi tapped on her screen, "As you wish." "Yun, youbastard. Yun, Ningxi. Are you looking for trouble?" Ningxi was boiling with anger when she saw this message. She replied, "So you're ashamed of what you've done now? You knew that you couldn't win him in person, so you used a surprise attack. What a low move! It's a shame to all bastards to even call you a bastard." The next reply arrived around 10 seconds later, "A surprise attack?" Ningxi replied quickly, "Who else would it have been if it wasn't you? Don't tell me that Phiro and Alice weren't your people." A reply came back almost instantly, "Yun, you guys had a fight?" "You bet. If it hadn't been for my wits and courage, I would have died. And don't you try to change the topic, that isn't the main point." Yun, my dear, of course, it's the main point. At the same time, in an underground bar in Las Vegas. Under dazzling lights and loud music booming, drunk people were dancing their night away in the dance pool. A handsome blonde-haired, blue-eyed man sat under the giant crystal disco ball in the middle of a luxurious booth, with a glimmer of evil emanating from his eyes. A large crowd of hot, skimpily dressed girls surrounded him and drank happily. It was a sumptuous feast indeed. A black-haired Asian man sat near him, alone on a big sofa. He wore gold-framed glasses, had a pair of blue earphones on and was working on his laptop in front of him. He gave people the impression that he wanted no one near him. No matter how things got crazy in the bar, everyone avoided him. It formed a sharp contrast compared to the blonde Italian man's table. A while later, the black-haired man nodded respectfully at the laptop, then walked up to the Italian man and said with a calm tone, "Mr. Augustine, did Phiro act under your orders? Visit novelbin.c.m for updates." The blue-eyed Italian man with blonde hair looked up drunkenly. Phiro, oh yes, those were my orders." "What's wrong, my dear buddy?" The black-haired man said matter-of-factly, "You've gone against someone that you shouldn't have." "Someone that I shouldn't go against?" the man asked, still confused. However, it looked like something dawned on him and he had realized something. "You mean that woman?" The Italian man said innocently with both his hands wide open, "My dear buddy, you can't blame me for this. My target was Lu Tingxiao. She went there on her own and then killed everyone and even captured Alice. She destroyed my plans." The Italian man had a steely look. Even the hot girls who were dancing around him earlier were now afraid of him. The black-haired man seemed not to notice and continued to speak without any expression, "Mr. Augustine, you've breached our agreement. The Italian man staggered up as he smiled and wanted to pat his shoulder. Hey buddy, relax. I'm just trying help since I saw that Satan wasn't doing anything yet. The black-haired man dodged Augustine's pat before he could touch him. With a poker face, he said, Mr. Augustine, I regret to tell you this, but due to your unauthorized actions, I'm afraid that our alliance ends today. The Italian man was shocked and his expression darkened. In a deep tone, he said, Do you know what are you talking about? Who gave you such instructions to end our alliance? Satan. The Italian man pushed away a pretty lady and stormed in front of the Asian man with a spooky face. Have him talk to me personally. Who are you to tell me this anyway? The next second, the black-haired man turned the laptop screen towards the Italian man's direction. On the screen was the silhouette of a man sitting on a wide couch in a dimly lit house, his face and his pair of long legs barely made out in the dark. Satan, are you really ending our alliance? Just for a woman, the Italian man released all his rage towards the screen, like an enraged lion. In contrast with the angry Italian man, the man on the screen sounded as if he had just woken up. He spoke lazily, just for a woman. You're messing with me. The Italian man kicked a table nearby, his handsome face turning ferocious. You better think about the consequences of ending our alliance. The man on the screen smiled lightly. Consequences? Tang Yi, tell Augustine the consequences. Yes. The black-haired man nodded and then turned towards the Italian man, declaring in his cold, robotic-like tone, From this moment onwards, all the trading between us will be stopped immediately. Augustine immediately sobered up after hearing what Tang Yi said. His eyes turned red and he looked terrifying. If their trade ended now, it meant that they would lose 90% of their source of firearms. Fine, I'll let you know what the consequences of betraying an ally are. The music suddenly stopped and a big group of muscular men surrounded them. Each man had guns on them, and numerous guns were pointed at Tang Yi. With just one signal from Augustine, Tang Yi would become their shooting practice target. Tang Yi calmly took off his gold-framed glasses and stood up to adjust his sleeve. The moment his eyes met with Augustine's, his calm sight turned into a scary blazing pair of eyes as he said coldly, Mr. Augustine, I'm afraid that you're mistaken about something. Find EU chapters on nv/lbi.com. You weak chicken. What am I mistaken about? Augustine yelled at him. A delighted laughter came through from the other side of the screen. Haha, what an interesting nickname for him. I hope you'll have fun tonight, Tang Yi. The screen went black after he finished his sentence. Augustine felt uneasy about what the man on screen had just mentioned. The black-haired man, Tang Yi, was Satan's right-hand man. He was the person responsible for the organization's core accounts and was extremely sensitive to numbers. He required protection as he could not do anything on his own. Augustine had such a weakling on his turf now, what danger could there be? Even though he had never seen Tang Yi in action before, it did not mean that he was not skilled, did it? Even if he was skilled, there were so many guns aimed at him right now. What could he do? Augustine's expression became even more ferocious as he signaled his men to attack him. Suddenly, after Tang Yi had taken off his glasses, he seemed like a different person. As if like a shadow, he sneaked out at the speed of lightning. In the blink of an eye, he evaded the bullets that sprayed at him. Augustine felt creeped out, shivering as if an evil entity was trying to take over him. All of a sudden, he felt the cold steel of a dagger on his neck, the pain waking him up from his shock. Mr. Augustine, you'd need at least a fully armed special ops team to kill me. Are you looking down on me, or have you overestimated yourself? Tang Yi's psychopathic gaze peered at him without the glasses shielding the scary eyes of his. You, Tang Yi, you had better reconsider your decision. What will the consequences be for making us your enemy? Augustine's body shook with fear as he had not expected Tang Yi to be this skilled. Mr. Augustine, allow me to remind you that this is Las Vegas, and I've said that it was only you who needed to consider the consequences. As Tang Yi finished his line, his dagger flashed and Augustine screamed. His ear was cut off. Blood spilt everywhere on the ground. Tang Yi licked his lips, enjoying the metallic taste of blood. You should thank God that my junior was not hurt and that your trashy henchmen were dead, if not. Before Augustine had the chance to say anything, a group of men in black suits rushed into the bar and killed Augustine's men with guns. Visit novillebin.c/m for the L-test updates. All of Augustine's men were dead in just a few moments. Augustine fell into complete despair. As expected, one should not be careless when dealing with people working for Satan. Augustine had made a deadly mistake this time. Tang Yi put on his glasses again and took a white towel handed over by one of the men in black. He wiped his hands and regained his polite attitude. Mr. Augustine, this is a warning, I hope that you'll remember this. Augustine nodded profusely while covering his wound with fear in his eyes. I understand. I'll leave Las Vegas now and never come back. I appreciate your cooperation, Tang Yi expressed as he started to lead the men in the black suits out of the bar. Augustine was filled with fear and anger. He would get back at them one day. Find you chapters on nv/lbi.com. You damn bunch of Asians. I'll make all of you go to hell one day. The moment he finished uttering his words, a slight movement from Tang Yi was detected. He had unsheathed his daggers and slashed out with it in the blink of an eye. Ah! Augustine still did not know what had happened. It was only until he put his hand to his left ear to find that it was cut off as well. Mr. Augustine, it seems like ears are nothing more than an extra accessory for you, Tang Yi declared, then walked out of the bar with satisfaction, leaving the screaming Augustine and a pile of corpses back in there. In a hotel in Philadelphia. Ningxi was annoyed after she was done text messaging. No more messages came after the last one. It felt really terrible to feel manipulated and afraid at all times. She was lucky this time, but what if there were more formidable enemies the next time? She looked at Lu Tingxiao through the window and thought to herself that she could not just sit here and not do anything. Lu Tingxiao was focused on listening to his subordinate's report, but suddenly, he raised his head and looked at Ningxi. Ningxi sat up straight and acted obediently. She then took a paper and wrote a few words on it with a pen. Boss, may I go to the toilet? If yes, then you can pick up your pen. She showed the paper to Lu Tingxiao after she was done writing. Lu Tingxiao smiled after he noticed the paper in the girl's hand and saw what was written on it. His subordinate was confused and stopped for a while. Lu Tingxiao slowly picked up the pen on the table and changed his pose before reminding his subordinate, continue. Ningxi ran off right after she got her reply. She felt like she had gone back to her primary school days when she still needed to get permission from the teacher to go to the toilet. The meeting adjourned late in the evening. Xiao was talking to Qing Feng as they left the room, still feeling a little surreal about what had happened. He said, so, boss already knew that Hong Jinhao had issues, but he let him be, and he purposely came to Philadelphia to lure out the one who was pulling the strings. Qing Feng nodded, yeah, but the results were different from what we expected. The enemy that appeared in Philadelphia wasn't who we thought it was. It was another group of people instead. Our plans were delayed. If it wasn't because of Ningxi's sudden appearance, you guys probably couldn't have hung in there for so long, and I'm afraid that you won't be talking to me now. Zhao's face reddened. It's my own fault. Even if I really died there, I have to say that I'm impressed and thankful that that woman saved my life. Even though it was all within the boss plan, he still felt embarrassed. The boss had reminded him multiple times to not be reckless and think it through properly before taking actions, yet he had trusted Hong Jinhao so easily. He did not expect that this to happen to him. Taking Xiongxi aside was a big mistake for Xiao. and the boss had expected him to make these mistakes. It seemed that the boss still could not fully trust Shu Xiao yet. The ever-so-confident Shu Xiao had tasted defeat for the first time. He asked, "Assistant Cheng, is it true that we're just the surface guards for boss, and that he actually has another group of extraordinary followers behind him whom he really trusts?" A weak little girl who turned out to have unbelievable skills hidden within her, how much more powerful can his other forces be? He actually doubted boss' judgment in people and had even insulted her several times. In the end, it showed that he was the ignorant and helpless one. Don't overthink it. You guys mean very much to the boss. You're still young and have a lot of room for improvement, so be patient. Ching Feng gave him a pat on his back and comforted him while sighing at the same time. Shu Xiao actually possessed a great amount of potential. It was too bad that he was too impatient, and it was this impatience that caused him to stop growing. It might not be a bad thing at all if he could change this bad habit of his after this incident. Thinking back about the moment when he had reached the arsenal with boss, he could only see the moment when Ningxi shot everyone down and defeated the foreign lady. He did not really know what had happened before, but it was not easy to impress someone as prideful as Shu Xiao. One could know that she was not just your average actress. Xiongji scratched his head. "Assistant Cheng, who exactly is Ms. Ning? She definitely isn't just an actress. Was boss kidding when he asked me to protect her? Does she look like she needs protection? I really don't understand." Ching Feng replied, "I don't really know much about Ms. Ningxi as well. I'm as shocked as the both of you after I saw what happened today. Just act as if you did not know what happened today and remember not to mention it in front of boss. As for boss's orders, just follow his instructions." Shu Xiao and Xiongji nodded with no objections. Ningxi had just gotten up from her nap when she saw that Lu Tingxiao was finished with his meeting. She asked him, "Boss, are you done with your meeting?" Lu Tingxiao pinched between his brows tiredly. Hang around for a bit. I'll go and take a shower." "Oh." Ningxi blinked her eyes innocently. "Boss, then do you still need me to stay within your sight then?" Lu Tingxiao was a little taken aback. He turned around and said, "If you want to, I don't mind." Ningxi was speechless. Damn it! She still could not tease the devil. And the image of the devil in the shower started to appear in her head. Oh dear, stop. Find you chapters on nv/lbi.com. Lu Tingxiao went to her and teased her hair as he saw her embarrassed face, playfully reprimanding her with a hoarse voice. "Don't simply say things like these. My self-restraint is a lot weaker than you think." Again! What had she just said? She was very innocent. It was him who was dirty. Ningxi remembered Lu Tingxiao's stormy expression after he went into the shower. Even though he was really angry, he had suppressed in order not to make her afraid of him. And he most probably saw the moment when Ningxi had killed those people, but neither did he ask nor mention anything about it. Instead, he had treated her gently as usual. Ningxi felt a sense of warmth and curled herself up into a ball. She cleared her throat and started singing, "I still don't know what's this feeling when I fell in love with you. It was the best thing in my life when I met you. It was you that guarded me through the rain and storm. It was you that I wanted to stay with. We've been within reach of each other." Find the new ST Ovals on n/velben.com. Although he could not see her, she thought that he should be able to hear her singing. Lu Tingxiao was known for being as cold as the North Pole, but when he heard the girl's sweet singing while he was in the shower, all of his steeliness melted and his heart became warmer than the sun on the equator. 3 days later, at the Imperial Airport in China. They had finally wrapped up everything and flown back home. After they disembarked from the plane, Lu Tingxiao was going to suggest sending Ningxi home, but she interrupted him. "Boss, let me send you home." Lu Tingxiao raised his brows. "You want to send me back? Shouldn't it be the man sending the woman home?" That's different. Aside from a gender perspective, you're still my boss and I'm your best employee, so of course, I'll send you home first. She would be uneasy if she did not send him home safely. The girl was trying to defend her reasoning, and Lu Tingxiao smiled at her. Seems reasonable. Ningxi nodded. Of course. So I shall send you back. Fine, you'll send me back. He was glad that he got to spend more time with her, in whatever way. Lu Tingxiao sent his son a message after he got into the car. Open the windows from your room an hour later. No response. But Lu Tingxiao was patient. His phone rang around 3 minutes later. That kid had sent him 3 exclamation marks. Lu Tingxiao smiled. He knew that his son understood what he meant. An hour later, they reached home. Lu Tingxiao looked up and saw a small head popping out of the window waving impatiently, but it quickly disappeared as soon as they arrived. Moments later, a tiny silhouette ran towards them. The little kid did not even stop by his father, whom he had not seen for days. Instead, he ran past him. Lu Tingxiao was totally ignored and was speechless. Fine, he was used to this already. Ningxi was surprised to see little Bun. She bent over and picked up her sweetheart, my little baby. As she picked little treasure up, she felt as if she had returned to humanity after coming from a world of bloodshed. He was so soft that she did not want to let go. Little Bun melted right into Auntie Shaoxi's arms like a boat docking home, like a bird flying back to its nest, and he felt satisfied, happy, and safe. As Ningxi hugged little Bun happily, she noticed Lu Tingxiao standing alone. She patted little Bun's shoulder and spoke gently, "Little treasure, don't you miss your father? You haven't seen him for days." Little Bun looked at Lu Tingxiao and thought about it. Whether he missed him or not, that was the question. He was in front of Auntie Shaoxi, so he should just speak the truth. When she saw that the little Bun was about to answer something that would break Lu Tingxiao's heart even more, Ningxi quickly said something before any tragedy could happen. "Ahem, little treasure, your father works so hard every day to earn money for the family. Go give your father a hug, okay?" The little Bun nodded, then ran over to Lu Tingxiao. He looked up and held out his 2 short arms, to indicate that he wanted to hug. Lu Tingxiao could not help but laugh at his son's adorable gesture. He bent down to lift his son, and gently patted his little head. "Good boy." The son gave his father some face and managed to persevere in his tight embrace for 3 seconds. By the 4th second, he expectantly turned to look at Ningxi's direction and held out his arms, indicating that he wanted Auntie Shaoxi to hug him now. Lu Tingxiao was speechless. He could only return the little guy to Ningxi. Hey, a grown son cannot be kept for long. After she left the Lu family's old residence, Ningxi was prepared to return to her apartment. On the way, she received Ling Zizi's phone call, so she made a detour and made her way to the company. At Glory World Entertainment. When she reached the ground floor of the building, Ningxi nonchalantly looked up and saw Suyimo on the huge LED screen above her head. It was playing Suyimo's latest advertisement for Chanel as part of her ambassadorship for the brand. In the advertisement, Suyimo changed into a total of 12 of Chanel's most classic outfit designs, which was really cool. Under the LED screen, there were several female artistes who were part of Suyimo's group surrounding her. They looked up at the advertisement and excitedly discussed at the same time, "Yimo, your advertisement shoot is way too cool and elegant, it's definitely high up in the ranks." It's no wonder that Chanel would look for Yimo to be the spokesperson in China. Not only is our Yimo's popularity high, but by the looks of the entire entertainment circle right now, how many other female artists can embody Chanel's elegant charisma? This was when someone saw Ningxi walk by and intentionally spoke up louder, unlike some people, whose head is about to fly to the clouds for accepting a low and trashy gaming endorsement gig. Last time, we even saw her going to a place like Jade Treasury to buy jade. Are you talking about Ningxi? Who else could it be? Pfft, with her measly endorsement fees, she dared to even visit Jade Treasury? Right, I'm guessing that because Sis Yimo likes jade, so she wanted to buy one for herself to fool herself into thinking she can be as cool as Sis Yimo. At last, she must have bought a small rough one for 100,000 or something. She probably has some imitation jade that she tries to pass off as the real thing. This is too funny. Upto.dfrm no/v/e/lb I n.co/m. Suyimo stood in middle like a moon surrounded by stars and listened to the people discuss Ningxi. Her tone was slightly impatient when she said, "Next time, don't mention that name in front of me." The female artistes around her who heard this immediately stopped and carefully responded, "Understood, Sis Yimo, how could that lowly person be mentioned in the same breath as your name? No more mentioning, better not let her leech on our Sis Yimo's popularity." That's shameless. In Ling Jiji's office. Ningxi knocked the door before entering. "Sis Jiji, did you need me for anything? Sit down and let's discuss." Ling Jiji indicated for her to sit, then asked, "Do you know the brand, Noble?" Ningxi thought about it, then answered, "The brand that exclusively produces perfumes?" "Exactly," Ling Jiji replied. Ningxi did not know why Ling Jiji had asked such a question, and she thought about it for a while before she continued with whatever little knowledge she had. "Based on what I know, this is a brand with personality. It has a much smaller crowd than those well-known luxury brands like Chanel, Tiffany, and Armani, so not many people seem to know about it." Ling Jiji nodded. "Yes, this brand has a very small fan base, a lot of people are strangers to it. In reality, Noble is a 2-decade-old well-known perfume brand and has always been the favorite of royal families and popular stars. Until now, there have been more than 240 types of privately customized and publicly available perfume. It can be said that every fragrance of theirs is a legend. Before this, Noble has never been broken the retail scene within China, so they're not very well known within the country. However, I received news that Noble is preparing to expand their market to China and that they are choosing a spokesperson within Hongxing, Taizhou, and Suiyou, the entire inner country." Ningxi blinked. "Cici Jiji, are you trying to sign me up?" "I've already helped you sign up. I sent them a clip of you from the world. I was just simply trying our luck. Who would have known that I would receive their notice that you've been chosen for the preliminaries?" Ling Jiji said. When she heard Ling Jiji's answer, Ningxi's eyes immediately shone. "What? I've been selected for the preliminaries? But wouldn't these kind of luxury brands usually look for currently popular artists like Suyimo to launch their expansion into China's market?" "That's true, so the fact that you were chosen was a shock to me too." Suyimo didn't join the auditions because she had already accepted Chanel's contract. Chanel's brand includes apparels, cosmetics, and perfume too, so there is no way she could take on Noble. However, without Suyimo, there is still the elites from all the other entertainment companies all around the country. They are practically all A-list and super A-list stars, and the pressure is on for you. So, even though this is a rare opportunity, you don't have to be nervous. This has been a surprise. After all, if you could get the stint, that's awesome, but even if you don't, it's all right, Ling Jiji consoled. Even though she had managed to get into the preliminaries, she did not have too much hope and she just wanted to let Ningxi have more exposure. Upstada T from N0/V/LB/co/m. For such a high-end brand, even if she only managed to enter the preliminaries, it was already considered good exposure for a small rookie like Ningxi. I know, Sis Jiji, I will remain neutral and just go for the experience," Ningxi humbly said. In reality, she was beyond ambitious in her heart. Even if it was a situation that was not really on her side, anything was possible until the very last second. Right, Sis Gigi, I wonder what the theme for this perfume's endorsement is? Ningxi asked. Only one word, noble. You have 3 days to prepare. After 3 days, the final audition will take place in Los Angeles, Country M, answered Ling Gigi. Ningxi mumbled to herself, 3 days, it's enough, I will seriously think about how to express this theme over the next few days. As for Country M, she was very familiar with it, so there was no pressure at all. The theme for this time is noble. You'll definitely need a lot. If you need anything, I will try my best to apply for it from the company, Ling Gigi said. Okay, I'll let you know then. Thank you, Sis Gigi, I'll go back to prepare now. 3 days later. At Los Angeles Airport in Country M, Ningxi took off her sunglasses and looked at the strange yet familiar surroundings. She looked around and felt her smile broaden even more. 1 year later, she had once again returned. 1 year ago, she was still loitering around with no proper home. 1 year later, her dream had started to take off. This time, even though Sis Gigi did not hold too much hope, she still personally accompanied her over. Expectedly, the venue would be full of the big shots around the region and she was worried that Ningxi would not be able to handle it. Ningxi, do you really not need anything at all? Ling Gigi asked again worriedly. Ningxi determinedly nodded, I don't need anything. What I need are very simple things and I've prepared them myself. The next morning. In Noble's company building, they took the lift to the highest floor and walked past many glass displays of various classic perfume fragrances to reach the audition venue. Follow the latest novels n/velbin.com. Ningxi followed behind Ling Gigi. As soon as she stepped in, she was blinded by what she saw. The place was filled with superstars, each of them well known in the industry, and there were only a few slightly newer rookies. In fact, to suit today's Noble theme, everyone was dressed in very shiny, attractive outfits. Most of the people knew one another and they were all courteously having small talk and networking. The rookies, on the other hand, utilized time by brown-nosing some superstars. It was very lively inside indeed. The moment Ningxi appeared at the door, everyone was stunned. The entire waiting room was in pin-drop silence. Of course, there was no way a newbie like Ningxi would be so famous as to shock everyone with her presence. It was actually because Ningxi's outfit was entirely unexpected as compared to the glamorous outfits and heavy accessories those popular artists were wearing. To say it was crazy would not be the right term. Ningxi had on a nude makeup look and wore a dress colored in what seemed like a dirty soil palette, with slightly old, brown leather shoes. She did not have any accessories on her and she did not even do anything to her hair, her slightly messy hair simply flowing down her back. Everyone looked at her oddly. Because the place was filled with mostly big brands, they spoke without constraint. They did not bother lowering their voices when they started to directly discuss Ningxi in front of her. Who's this? Why is she dressed like a beggar? Has she lost her way? I don't think so. Didn't you see that she's someone brought by Ling Gigi? Even though these people did not know Ningxi, Ling Gigi, who was known as the manager that brought Ling Manyun into the industry, was still well known by all. When they saw Ling Gigi, everyone revealed a look of disbelief. Ah. I remember now. This girl who's dressed shabbily must be that rookie that Ling Gigi has just started managing. Even if Ling Manyun left, Ling Gigi's experience was still valid. Surely she would not go to the extent of bringing someone like this? Is Glory World Entertainment poor to this extent? Without even a good stylist? How could Glory World Entertainment be poor? It's only because they don't value her. Ling Manyun retired for a man. Ling Gigi can't avoid this responsibility, can she? She can't even manage the artistes under her well. I heard that she was kept in the dark. As her manager, it was only when Ling Manyun publicly announced the news on Weibo did she find out. It looks like Ling Zizi's capabilities are limited. Glory World's best manager is still Zhao Meixin. This was when Starlight Entertainment's A-list female star walked to Ling Zizi with what seemed like concern, when underneath she clearly had the motive to insult. "Sis Ling, have you brought your artiste over to audition?" Ling Zizi nodded slightly. "I just casually helped her sign up and unexpectedly made it to the preliminaries. I've brought her to gain some experience." Her words were put in a courteous and humble way, but she did not stoop too low. To be called back from the pool of popular artistes in the entire country was already exemplifying her potential. The Starlight artiste looked regretful as she evaluated Ningxi behind her. She shook her head and said, "Sis Ling, I don't want to say anything, but even if you were planning to just accompany her, you can't just give up on yourself like that. Or was it because, since Ling Manyun left, you've dropped your standards to this extent? If that is so, you shouldn't stay at Glory World to be a manager, come be my assistant instead. Even though the salary is not much, it's better than you trying to manage this unpromising rookie." Starlight and Glory World had always been rivals, and the female artiste who had spoken was called Li Yueling. There were many times that she lost the Best Actress title to Ling Manyun. It was a rare opportunity to see Ling Zizi in this lowly state, so naturally, she would not let go of this great chance to ridicule her. When they saw both sides fighting one another, everyone else looked on, anticipating for drama to happen. Some even intentionally joked, "Speaking of which, I so happen to be lacking of an assistant too. I wonder if Sis Ling would be interested?" Li Yueling looked delighted. "Haha. Who knew that Sis Ling was this popular? Wait till this rookie doesn't make it, then she won't have to worry about not having a backup plan." As Ningxi watched Ling Zizi get attacked by the big names of the industry, her eyes flashed with disgust. She remembered Ling Zizi's reminder clearly that no matter what happened, if she could help herself, she should try not to speak. She found a quiet corner to sit down in, closed her eyes to avoid being disturbed by the external world, and focused on preparing her emotions to get into character. Not too long after, the auditions began. Ningxi picked a pretty good cue number. There were 30 people in total, and she landed right in the middle with number 15. Li Yueling got number 14, and she looked at Ningxi's number card and sighed as she shook her head. "Pfft, such a good number, what a waste." Very quickly, the first candidate went in for her audition. The first candidate's potential was already scary enough. Even though her family background and academic qualifications were not too high, and she did not come from a family of actors, she had relied on her own potential to win the award of Best Actress. When they saw that Fang Xiaowen was the first, many female artistes who auditioned looked nervous. Li Yueling, on the other hand, looked nonchalant as she dismissed it was just a primary school farmer girl. How could she understand the meaning of nobility? Even though Li Yueling did not have any especially attractive titles, apart from being very popular, her biggest advantage was her bountiful family background. Her father was a senior official, while her mother was a famous figure within the fashion industry. She had received an aristocrat education since she was young, and was well versed in piano, chess, drawing, and more. Among all of the stars present, there might have been people more popular than her, but almost no one could compare to her familial advantage. Just from Li Yueling's looks, even Noble's endorsement fees might not be able to afford her. No wonder she was so confident. Your F48 stories on /o/v/lbn.cm. In under a minute, Fang Xiaowen made her exit. Her manager immediately went up to ask her how it was, and Fang Xiaowen looked gloomy as she shook her head. The manager was slightly disappointed but still consoled her. Li Yueling looked on with her arms crossed as if she had expected this. "Pfft, I knew it, you're just a village nobody." "How could you be noble?" Apart from Liu Ling, there were several other female artistes with good family backgrounds who obviously looked down on Fang Xiaowen as well, and they all looked on insultingly at her. With the ridicule and insults coming from the crowd for overestimating herself, Fang Xiaowen could not handle it and burst out of the door. Even though she had fought for the title of being one of the best actresses, she still could not shake off the influence her family background and education qualifications had on her. In the corner, Ningxi opened her eyes and saw Fang Xiaowen's shadow leaving. Her eyes flashed with regret. It was too bad for Fang Xiaowen. Based on her acting skills and popularity, this endorsement should have been a piece of cake. The second one who auditioned was an artiste with a very rich tycoon father in the coal industry, who put in a lot of money to the entertainment industry for her. However, she came out within a minute. The parents of the third artiste were from the entertainment industry. She was a hard worker as well, the classic type of actress with potential. She managed to persevere for 3 minutes, and yet still failed in the end. Well, that's all for this part, Trekkers. See you all in the next video.